96, 97.
Estadard fighting back, Arcady and Octagonal. Oh, Arcady maybe. I didn't think he had. He got there in the last stride. Octagonal in the very last stride. From number 7, Arcady, and number 1, Estadard. Gee, I wasn't sure if he got there or not. Canter. Number 1, Falante, ridden by Brian York, has won the Canon Epsom in a trot.
Bart Cummings has got his 10th Melbourne Cup. Safely's going to win the Melbourne Cup for Darren Beadman and Bart Cummings.
80 metres to go, and it's a Jim Campman winning the Guineas once more. Down to the post it comes. The TVNZ 1,000 Guineas for 1996, number 5. Emerald.
Once again, Raceplay, the sporting company, is joined in this production by Sky Channel, Australia's satellite sporting link. Welcome once again to the Australasian Racing Year, our annual review of major races from both Australia and New Zealand. It's amazing to think, that it was 1.5 decades ago that this video document was first conceived, and it was done with the help and support of this man, the great race caller Bill Collins, who passed away in June this year. In fact, the original editions were called the Bill Collins Australasian Racing Year videos. Bill, known to several generations of punters as the accurate one, finally lost his battle with cancer, although his fighting spirit added at least 6 months to a life the doctor said should have ended the previous December. Bill Collins was responsible for bringing the colour and the excitement of racing to the layman. He was a keen form student and punter himself and loved nothing better than landing a serious gamble. But his passion was race calling. Put Bill Collins behind a microphone with a set of binoculars and a beautifully scripted prose would ensue. There were many famous race descriptions, including 34 Melbourne Cups and just as many Cox Plates. And let's not forget those 14 Australasian racing years. This was a season of change in Australasian racing. This woman, the effervescent Gay Waterhouse, continued her impressive rise to the top. It was just over 5 years ago that Gay received her licence to train from the Australian Jockey Club. And here she was, the leading trainer of group winners in Australian racing, with a tally of 10. Her stable jockey Shane Dye was the leading rider of group winners, with a spectacular haul of 13, from a national total of 65 events run at racing's highest level. His arch-rival Darren Beadman rode 11 in Australia, but topped that tally up by riding a further 2 during New Zealand's Summer Carnival in Auckland. And it was a year when Saintly emerged from the substantial shadow of reigning Horse of the Year Octagonal to claim an historic double, the Cox Plate and the Melbourne Cup. It put him in elite company, joining the mighty Rising Fast and Farlap. When Saintly exploded away to win the Foster's Melbourne Cup on that memorable first Tuesday in November, he gave his 69-year-old trainer Bart Cummings a record 10th Melbourne Cup, a sequence which began in 1965 when Lightfingers and Roy Higgins outbattled stablemate Zaima. And then in something of a rarity in modern racing, we saw champion Octagonal return to win 4 more Group 1 races, taking his career tally to 10. No horse won more Group 1s for the 1996-97 season, and in a year without the likes of Saintly, a second Horse of the Year title would have been his for the taking. Gay Waterhouse, Bart Cummings, Shane Dye, Darren Beadman, Saintly and Octagonal all played vital roles in making the 15th Australasian Racing Year one of special memories and historical importance. The new Group 1 year began the way it concluded, with Lee Freedman on top.
Real hard now, and the leader on the inside, Ballroom Babe, you remember's outside at 2 to Street Talk. Sequalo 3 deep on the fence, Del Sol from Bouverie Mist, then Temperate Pug further back, Furama Knights. Octagonal comes to the outside, 6 lengths off them from Sir Boom, then another chance from Cheviot. Last of all, Auntie Mary at the 450 Gout. She's riding the champ hard before the turn. You remember took over. Sequalo coming at him from Poetic King, then Temperate Pug right behind them, Furama Knights, and pulled out deep. Octagonal still 5 lengths off them around the turn. Sequalo, you remember. Poetic King comes at them quickly. 4 lengths further back, Sir Boom. Octagonal can't get up from there. Poetic King and Sequalo with 100 to go from You Remember. Poetic King got a 10 in front. Fighting back, You Remember, Poetic King.
As we shall see, that was just an early instalment from Poetic King. The Vic Health Cup was the next item on the Group 1 agenda. It's a 1400 metre open handicap and is conducted at Caulfield.
At the 800, Temperate Pug had gone to the lead over Blazing Sun in second, and Zuccarino is holding down third, placing on the outside, followed by Del Sol. Back behind them then on the inside, You Remember, and then Pluska Sober Suit, followed by Matsky. Next in the field, 600 metres to go, Dry Humour, followed by Pearl Prince getting up on the inside, and Costa de Lago's creeping closer, followed by Scenic Royale, Lockray, Buzz off a fairway back before the turn, Cutlery Lane, simple as that. Another excuse and follow the riders last when they corner. Blazing Sun on the inside, Zuccarino wider out, Sober Suit coming at them. You Remember looking for a way clear on the inside. Scenic Royale is coming with Lockray on the outside. Zuccarino tackled by Scenic Royale, who dashes to the front now. Then Lockray, simple as that, coming down the outside. But it's Scenic Royale in front, and Costa de Lago switches to the inside. He's flying in Costa de Lago. He's got there. Mighty win in Costa de Lago beats Scenic Royale.
This was a stunning victory, one in which Costa de Lago turned the impossible into reality. It certainly fired the imagination of trainer Lee Friedman, jockey Stephen King, and the big Caulfield crowd privileged enough to witness it. Sadly, we saw in Costa de Lago just 2 more times, including an effortless win in the Group 2 Bill Stutt Stakes at Moonee Valley. This son of Sadler's Wells' younger brother, Fairy King, will now stand his first season at stud at the Campbell family's Blue Gum Farm, Euroa, Victoria.
Horse of the Year Octagonal had been beaten on 3 occasions in the early spring weight for age races. In the Group 1 Underwood Stakes, Octagonal was taken beyond the mile for the first time in its preparation and was reunited with his Autumn Carnival partner, Darren Beatman.
Doremus behind him, hard ridden, and Octagonal the widest into the straight now. Bunched at the top of the straight. Celius took the lead now from Station Hand, running on Furama Night Sir Boom. Toil is barging into the open. Count Shivers coming down the outside with Octagonal. He's putting in on the outside. Celius the leader. Count Shivers and Octagonal. Octagonal and Count Shivers. Octagonal, he's back. Octagonal's won it by a long neck.
Now we'll see more of Octagonal when we pay tribute to the champ later in the Australasian Racing Year. In Sydney, the AJC Spring Carnival was beginning to unfold, and an early highlight was the head-to-head clash of Fallant and Juggler in the Group 1 George Main Stakes over 1,600 metres at Randwick.
All Our Mob is just in front of Falante, who's level now as they come to the corner. In third place, Valens. Juggler on the outside is tracking Falante. Toledo last of the 5 as they turn for home. Now they're in earnest at the 400. All Our Mob and Falante together coming over the rise. Dittman sitting pretty on Falante. He allows the odds on Pop. More rain. He quickly put a length on All Our Mob. Juggler, called upon by Glenn Boss, is running a heck of a race at the 200. Falante clear. Dittman's got to liven him up. Juggler on the outside is coming at him strongly. Juggler's got him. Juggler, here's a boil over. Juggler takes the lead from Falante, and Juggler draws away to win it, nearly a length on the line to Falante.
Fallant was gallant in defeat there. The defeat also brought about a programming rethink from trainer Jack Denham, who had previously intended sending Fallant straight to Melbourne. Instead of that, and with Brian York replacing a suspended Mick Dittman, Fallant started favourite from a wide barrier in the Group 1 Cannon Epsom handicap.
Followed by Peruzzi as they turn from Social Rule, and Shame is a mile back with Ray Lopez as they come over the rise. Flight to Fantasy about to be tackled by Falante, which has breezed up on the outside, and Falante exploded to the front at the 200 mark. Catalan opening and All Our Mob are running on well, followed by Iron Horse, but it's all Falante with 100 to go. All Our Mob is trying his heart out, but Falante, like the shooting star from which he gets his name, comes right away to win the Epsom brilliantly.
What a phenomenal gallop, breaking a 17-year-old record for the Randwick metric mile, previously held by the underrated 1979 Doncaster handicap winner, Belmura Lad. Fallant, bred by Sydney Turf Club director Jim Fleming, became the 3rd Group 1 winner produced by his dam, the Sir Tristram mare Eau de Toile.
The spring 3-year-olds did not impress as a particularly strong lot, and the picture became even more confused when the impressive Gloaming Stakes winner Magic of Sydney had a setback in training.
Further back then is Sharp Lord, followed by Truly Halo, and Ebony Grove is giving them a big start as they turn for home. Over the rise, Don Tristram, the leader. Magic of Sydney is about to canter into 2nd place, followed by Toledo and Dual Dilemma with the last shot at the Magic of Sydney. Swept to the lead at the 200 over Don Tristram. Ebony Grove about to burst out of the pack. Dual Dilemma's there too. Magic of Sydney, the leader. Ebony Grove is coming after him with Dual Dilemma. Magic of Sydney is just in front as they hit the line. I reckon he just lasted.
Magic of Sydney is yet another Group 1 winner by the all-conquering stallion Danehill, the hottest sire property in this half of the world. This was the second Group 1 for the season for trainer Gai Waterhouse and the first for the renowned big occasion jockey Shane Dye.
The Flight Stakes is the Sydney spring highlight for 3-year-old fillies. The traditional lead-up event, the T-Rose Stakes, had seen the Gai Waterhouse-trained Assertive Lass finish far too brilliantly for the Danehill filly Dashing Eagle.
Dashing Eagle, 3 deep, is tracking Show Dancing, followed by Lafayette, Dan Hendry, Countess Carmen, City Devil last as they flatten for the run to the judge. Over the rise, Savarin joined quickly by Assertive Lass. Show Dancing in 3rd place, and Dashing Eagle has the last shot at them as they come to the 200. Here's the Eagle is flying. Dashing Eagle on the outside has stormed past Assertive Lass with 100 to go. Has Beedman got the 1,000 wins? Shane Dye, never say die, fighting back on Assertive Lass, and I think he's got him again.
The judge took his time and called for a number of prints that ultimately could not separate Assertive Lass and Dashing Eagle. In many ways, this was a self-contained preview of the season, with Waterhouse versus Cummings and Dye versus Beedman. A dead heat was probably a fair result all round. 2 days before the AJC Metropolitan, Derby runner-up Saintly had been unceremoniously beaten as a long odds-on favourite by 3-year-old Adventurous, trained by Waterhouse and ridden by Dye. Saintly's trainer Bart Cummings would not hear of deviating from his plan and backed up Saintly 2 days later with a 2,600 metre feature, run at set weights with penalties and allowances.
Hula Flights is now getting between horses, then the Phantom Chance, and Nothing Like a Dane pull to the extreme outside as they come over the rise. Fewer Chosen, the leader from Western, approaches. His Hula Flight getting between them, and Saintly on the outside has rounded them up very quickly. Saintly has raced clear with Hula Flight. They're fighting it out from Fewer Chosen, and Nothing Like a Dane coming down the outside. Saintly and Hula Flight. Nothing Like a Dane is coming fast in the last little bit, but Hula Flight on the inside.
This was the 3rd AJC Metropolitan for Gai Waterhouse. Hula Flight provided major Japanese owner and breeder Katsumi Yoshida with his first Australian Group 1 success. Chris Muntz was the successful jockey.
The AJC Carnival had been dominated by Gai Waterhouse, much the same way her famous father Tommy Smith had done so often in years gone by. When the Waterhouse team hit Melbourne in early October, it didn't take long for the leading Sydney trainer to find her feet.
And 3 lengths to Peep on the Sly. They're bunching around the home bend now. It's Crying Game going to Magnet Bay again. Juggler on their outside. He has the upper hand round the turn. Octagonal's 3 behind him in a sprint home. Juggler takes the lead at the top of the straight for Stephen King now. From Magnet Bay, Octagonal pulls to the outside. It's Juggler at the 200 metre mark, a length in front of Magnet Bay. In 3rd place, Station Hand with Octagonal, but Juggler, the way it's run, he sprints away. He's 3 lengths in front now from Magnet Bay and Octagonal, and Juggler careers away to win it easily. Juggler first by nearly 4 lengths.
Juggler had won the Group 1 Doomben Cup the previous winter in Brisbane, and this was Group 1 number 3 for the Victorian bred gelding. Subsequently, Juggler represented Australia in the $5 million Dubai World Cup and finished a creditable 6th behind global champion Sing Spiel.
The running of the Caulfield Guineas is a sure sign that the Spring Carnival is getting serious. On the strength of 3 successive and highly impressive wins, the Lee Freedman trained in Costa del Lago was a dominating favourite.
In Costa del Lago, getting through between horses now, coming into it, and then Portland Player on the rail from Intergaze Anthems, and Alpha at the turn now, and Tarnpur Lane, the leader, into the straight, a length and a half clear from West Point. In Costa del Lago, Pop the Question on the outside, and then Portland Player. Tarnpur Lane at the 300, tackled by Portland Player, West Point, and in Costa del Lago. The favourite's got a bit of work to do here. On the outside, Intergaze is coming with a rush, and Alpha down the outside. It's Intergaze and Alpha. Intergaze and Alpha from in Costa del Lago. Intergaze and Alpha. Alpha goes home the best, and Alpha wins it by a head to Intergaze, and 3rd in Costa del Lago.
Alpha was undoubtedly the pride of Tasmania after tossing the top Sydney colt Intergaze and the highly rated Costa del Lago. The gelding unfortunately went amiss when being prepared for an autumn campaign. He's by the moderately performed but very well bred stallion El Moxie, whose impressive start to his stud career earned him a relocation from Tasmania to Emirates Park Stud Victoria. Jockey Rod Griffiths filled his part of the deal admirably.
There are 5 metric mile races run under handicap conditions in Australia, and traditionally they're always tough races for punters to sort out. The 1996 Toorak handicap was no exception.
Catalan opening and Matsky into the straight together from Brackenbury. Poetic King Park just behind them. They're followed then by Sober Suit over on the inside, and then Zuccarino. Lockray a fair way back, and so too is Seasky at the 200 now. Brackenbury fighting back. Matsky, Catalan opening. Poetic King is coming at the lot of them from Scenic Royale. Poetic King takes the lead from Brackenbury. Poetic King from Brackenbury, and then Shame, but Poetic King and Simon Marshall, they win the Toorak.
This was a third Group 1 for the underrated Poetic King, whose medium build has not diminished his ability to carry weight. It was also a consolation for having been beaten by Longshot Oppressor in the Toorak of 1995, when he conceded that good Queensland galloper 7 kilos in the handicaps. Simon Marshall handled Poetic King in both the Manicato Stakes and the Toorak.
Remember those good Sydney fillies, Dashing Eagle and Assertive Lass? Well, in the Group 1000 Guineas at Caulfield on October 16, they were at it again.
500 left to go in the Guineas now. They're nearing the turn. Gadina just in front of Assertive Lass and Simply Believe. Shiosaki's tracked wide all the way. Behind them Ascorbic and Dayra Bay. They're followed then by Dashing Eagle coming to the outside with her run. Assertive Lass first for home. Simply Believe coming at her, and now Dashing Eagle coming with a run on the outside. Then Recitals and Superb Lady. Assertive Lass, Simply Believe and Dashing Eagle alone at 3 at the 200. Dashing Eagle gets the upper hand for beatment over Assertive Lass, Simply Believe, Dayra Bay and Zaya is late, but Dashing Eagle's broken away, and Dashing Eagle, Beatman and Cummings win it by 2 lengths.
Although still inclined to race greenly, Dashing Eagle was simply too good on this occasion. The filly is raced by Australian wine industry leader Wolf Blass, who paid $100,000 for this daughter of Danehill as a yield.
With the preliminaries over, the stage was set for the 1996 Group 1 Foster's Caulfield Cup. It was hailed as the most open in years. The runners are under starters' orders.
Light now, they're away. Doremus jumped okay. Count Chivas a little awkwardly out of the gates. Arctic Scent and Love Dance into stride very fast early with Circles of Gold. And there's Iron Horse moving forward in the early stages. And Hula Flight is running towards the leaders as well. But Iron Horse goes to the front. Down to the post the first time. Hall takes Iron Horse to the lead over Crying Game, booting back on the rail. Circles of Gold 2 lengths away third, and Hula Flight's got in 1 off the rails on the outside of Love Dance, and next Electronic turning out of the straight. Arctic Scent getting up on the inside looking for an out, and a gap to Doremus at the 200. It's Iron Horse, Circles of Gold. Arctic Scent trying to get a run through. It's Circles of Gold and Iron Horse from Arctic Scent, and then Doremus, he's closing. It's Circles of Gold. Arctic Scent getting up on the inside. Arctic Scent getting up to Circles of Gold. Arctic Scent draws away. Arctic Scent by a length. Circles of Gold.
Well, this was certainly an emotional moment for owner-breeder David Moody and his wife Jenny, who'd seen many of the horses of their beloved Hodson's Lodge training complex depart soon after trainer Gerald Ryan handed in his licence. However, those who stuck behind Moody and his newly retained trainer Jim Mason had something magnificent to celebrate. Arctic Scent, winner of the Group 1 Queensland Oaks the previous season, is now the most important winner by Moody's former top colt Blazing Sword, a son of 1982 Golden Slipper hero Masqué. The mare was ridden to perfection by teenage apprentice Brent Stanley.
The 1996 BMW Cox Plate was something of a rarity in the modern era, a below-capacity field. Thank goodness for the interstate visitors, as Victorian stables failed to muster a single runner in the country's richest and most prestigious weight-for-age race. Although the field was small, it was ultra-elite. The 5 best weight-for-age gallopers in the land, Juggler, All Our Mob, Saintly, Volant and Octagonal, all arrived on schedule to do battle in the race where legends are made.
Down the back, 1,000 to go. In the Cox Plate, and Crying Game goes up to Adventurous. 2.5 further back, Volante. 3 further back, All Our Mob. Juggler on the outside of it, 3/4. 2 to Saintly, 1.5 Anthems, and 2 to Octagonal, still 12 lengths off them around the turn at the 800-metre mark. Crying Game took over now from Adventurous. Volante comes out now for Dittman and is striding quickly to the lead now. A length further back, All Our Mob. They're followed by Juggler. Saintly peeling out deep, and then Anthems. They're bunching up. 600 to go in the plate. Octagonal last, but coming out now. He's about 4 lengths off them. Crying Game is grabbed by Volante. Juggler wider out on the track. back with All Our Mob and Saintly putting in a run out wider. All Our Mob and Falonde being tackled by Juggler, and the widest runner is Saintly with a run. All Our Mob, Falonde now from Juggler and Saintly. 4 in line, 2 to Octagonal. They turn for home, and the whips are cracking. It's All Our Mob, Saintly, Juggler and Falonde. Here's a great go, 150 to go. Falonde, Saintly coming at it on the outside. Saintly getting up to Falonde and Juggler the centre. Saintly on the outside. Falonde strikes back, dead heat. Saintly maybe a nose. Falonde, nothing in it.
Generally, when 4 horses are spread across the track, it indicates a race that's below par, with no single horse achieving his personal best. This wasn't the case in the 96 Cox Plate, with Saintly and Falonde splitting the line together in a tactical battle that had the big crowd roaring as long and as loud as any Cox Plate crowd that preceded it. The Cox Plate completed the big 3 of Australian racing for Darren Beedman, having previously won the 1984 Golden Slipper on Inspired and the 1990 Melbourne Cup on Kingston Rule. It was the second Cox Plate for the maestro, Bart Cummings. His first was champion Taj Rossi in 1973, and ironically enough, both Saintly and Taj Rossi are from the same family. It said much about the 3-year-olds of this season that only Adventurous and Anthems went around in the Cox Plate, and both of them at generous odds. Alfred who fought out the Caulfield Guineas, had another battle royal in the Amy Vase earlier on the Cox Plate program, with Connections preferring the softer option of working the youngsters out against their own age group. Alfred dominated Derby discussions, with the other major chance conceded to Ebony Grove, who had looked unlucky in the Spring Champion Stakes during the AJC spring meeting. And then there was Portland Player, a royally bred colt sporting the colours made famous by the Victoria Derby's most famous beaten favourite, the mighty Kingston Town.
As they came near to the home turn, further back in the field, Kim Commander starting a run around the outside. Portland Player is getting a little closer to the leaders. Mustang Ranch back on the inside. Then came Into Gaze, being trailed by Ebony Grove and Tom Bowler as last when the Derby field came around the home turn. And it's Prattler the inside and Adventurous under the whip, hanging a bit the first into the straight. Third placing Prince Miasma, Mustang Ranch the inside, Magic of Sydney, and Alpha is coming with his run down the outside. Portland Player is closing and Ebony Grove from last. 250 to go. It's Prattler in front. Portland Player and Alpha are pegging him back now from Ebony Grove, who's coming quickly on the outside. Ebony Grove, Portland Player and Alpha from Prattler the rails. It's Portland Player, Alpha and Ebony Grove now. Portland Player, Alpha, Ebony Grove, Portland Player. Portland Player won it by a neck.
To say that Portland Players is a blue blood pedigree is to lapse into gross understatement. He's the ultimate proof of what can happen when the best of North and South combine. His sire, Theatrical, is a Breeders' Cup winning son of the great Nurio, while his dam, the sleek black mare Spirit of Kingston, was the leading filly of her generation in Australia. The Derby winners, owners and breeders were Mr. and Mrs. Kingston Town, David and Helen Hayes. The trainer, Group 1 genius Lee Freeman.
The McKinnon Stakes at Flemington on Derby Day is a 2,000-metre weight for age race with a mountain of history behind it. This year's McKinnon Stakes seemed to have less Melbourne Cup consequences than usual, looking much more like a Cox Plate consolation.
About a length and a half to Love Dance in third place now, coming up to second Falonde, and over on the outside joining in is All Our Mob, and they're followed by Circles of Gold and Count Shivers running on well. Magnet Bay back behind them, followed by Juggler Octagonal as well back as they run to the 300. All Our Mob on the outside has taken the lead from Falonde, is struggling. In third place is Celius, Count Shivers, Circles of Gold, but All Our Mob looking good with 150 left to go. Falonde's now starting to close the gap a bit, but All Our Mob is still the leader with 100 to go. All Our Mob's got it won. All Our Mob will win the McKinnon by a length to Falonde. Third, pretty tight, Celius or Circles of Gold in a photo.
While many analysts doubted the ability of 7-year-old All Our Mob to hold his form just 7 days after his torrid Cox Plate run, they underrated the toughness of this double millionaire. All Our Mob, trained by Gay Waterhouse, is jointly owned by 34 times champion Sydney trainer Tommy Smith in partnership with Chinese businessman Tony Huang. This was Group 1 number 3 for the season for the brilliant Simon Marshall.
The Selinger Stakes run over the straight 1,200-metre course at Flemington gives the country's best sprinters the chance to strut their stuff before the Derby Day crowd. This year, Flemington's racegoers were treated to a history-making performance by a horse they call the Ace of Pace.
Out on the grandstand side now, and it's Mast Party going up to Kingston Calling. Running on fairly well as Seeker from Lion Hunter, Royal Discard and Cut Up Rough. Gold Ace is threading through the field with a challenge now. They're inside the 200, and Gold Ace has raced to Mast Party, followed by Seeker and then Kingston Calling. But it's Gold Ace on the grandstand side. He's raced a couple clear, and Gold Ace is coming clear. Gold Ace wins it by more than 2 lengths. Seeker.
This will go down as the consummate sprinting performance, right up with the latter-day greats like Zephyr Bay, Century, Placid Arc and Schillaci. In dashing clear with 57 kilograms to score by 2 1/4 lengths, Gold Ace created a new Flemington 1200 metre record, a blistering 1:7.5. He's been retired to stand at Ealing Park in Victoria for 1997 at a fee of $8,000.
And now for the race that stops the nation. $2.3 million Foster's Melbourne Cup. In recent years, the Cup has become a truly international race, and the professional analysts tell us it now rates as high as the Cox Plate. In other words, the days of the lightly weighted stayer winning the Melbourne Cup are long gone. The modern Melbourne Cup winner is a weight for age class stayer. This year, the Cup attracted 3 high-class visitors from Europe: Oscar Schindler, Grey Shot and Court of Honour. The pre-race publicity was hogged by 2 horses: Cox Plate hero Saintly and the magnificent big chestnut horse Oscar Schindler, who'd run on late for 3rd in the Arc de Triomphe at Longchamp before journeying south. While the Victorian Racing Club undoubtedly wanted to see a Northern Hemisphere visitor emulate Vintage Crop's winning performance of '93, there was a strong sentimental push for Saintly, as his trainer, the legendary Bart Cummings, had already won 9 Melbourne Cups.
They're off and running in the Cup, and a magnificent start too. Oscar Schindler has gone away okay. He's starting to ease him back. Saintly away quickly down on the inside, and beginning well was Arctic Scent. Nothing Like a Dane has begun okay, had his head in front. Alcove further out now, Grey Shot. And from the outside, Court of Honour and Centre Go. The widest runner fewer chosen with Super Slew, and dropping in behind the Phantom Chance. Cheviot has gone back to last, 3rd last in the early point. Doremus and Boart back 2nd last. Coming down to the 400-metre mark, and the English horse Grey Shot has gone to the front now. Grey Shot in front of the Melbourne Cup from Fewer Chosen, going up on the outside of Centre Go. Court of Honour pushing up on the middle. Over on the fence, Dye's done a great job on Nothing Like a Dane. Further back in the race, Count Shivers 4 wide around Istadad. Saintly over on the inside of Alcove, and they're followed further back in the race now by Arctic Scent on the outside. Then My Kiwi Gold, Circles of Gold further back in the event. Count Shivers getting up on the inside, going out of the straight, 2,200 metres to go. Grey Shot the leader in the Melbourne Cup, 1,000 to go. Led by 3/4 now to Fewer Chosen, 2 then to Nothing Like a Dane. Super Slew is running 4th, 2 lengths for the back, Court of Honour. Saintly the inside from Sedigo, then Alcove followed by Count Shivers, Istadad. A length further back in the Cup then came Circles of Gold, followed by My Kiwi Gold, and then the Bandit, the Phantom Chance. Oscar Schindler's got a giant job to do from there. Further back, Senator Skybow. Well back, Arctic Scent, followed further back in the field by Doremus. He's 4th last on the turn. Then Sapio and Boart last of all, coming around the home turn. And Nothing Like a Dane gets out, goes to Grey Shot. Then Fewer Chosen, Saintly wider out, coming home well. Then for the back, Centre Go. It's Saintly ranging up to Nothing Like a Dane. Saintly has reached Nothing Like a Dane. Grey Shot struggling, then Count Shivers. A long gap in the field for the back, Skybow. No Oscar today. Saintly in front at the 150. Bart Cummings might have his 10 Melbourne Cups. Saintly's gone 2 lengths, Count Shivers. Then on the inside is Senator from Skybow, but Saintly wins the Melbourne Cup. Saintly scores a length and a half. Count Shivers, I think Skybow may have grabbed 3rd. Senator 4th for the back, Nothing Like a Dane.
There it was, Cup number 10 for Bart Cummings and number 2 for Darren Beedman. And what a spectacular result, with Saintly pouring on the finishing power to destroy a high-class field. Saintly is a Cummings homebred, being from the well-bred Sir Tristram mare All Grace by the former weight for age class galloper Sky Chase, which Bart also trained and part owned. Saintly became only the 3rd horse, following Phar Lap in 1930 and Rising Fast in 1954, to win the Cox Plate Melbourne Cup double.
When you think about Bart now, you think beyond racing. You think in terms of Bradman, because he's really become that freakish. If you think about the figures, he's been in 32 Melbourne Cups, had horses in 32 Melbourne Cups. And each year for those 32 Melbourne Cups, there's probably 20,000 horses could have gone around in them. And he's won 10 of those 32. In other words, he's won 1 in 3. It's an extraordinary statistic. And of course the wonderful thing about Bart is you see him all the time, you see him here, and he never looks to be working. He's always joking and leaning on the rail and making quips and giving people boiled lollies and all sorts of things. And he never looks to be working. I can remember coming here last spring when Oscar Schindler was here, and you'd go out to Sandown, Oscar Schindler would be out at Sandown, and there'd be vets and farriers and psychotherapists and everything, trailing the horse around. And then you'd see Bart out here with Saintly and just leaning on the rail in his red jacket. Nothing was bothering him, and he won the Cup again.
Bart Cummings might have his 10 Melbourne Cups. Saintly's gone 2 lengths, Count Civis. Then on the inside is Senator from Sky Bay, but Saintly wins the Melbourne Cup.
10 Melbourne Cups. What a phenomenal achievement by master trainer Bart Cummings. Now, a limited edition, magnificently packaged memento of the Maestro's Melbourne Cup collection is available for racing purists to treasure forever. Each print is an original on canvas, individually numbered and personally signed by the Cups King himself, Bart Cummings. To secure your own personal memento of the ultimate in thoroughbred training excellence, contact Blue Diamond Photography, P.O. Box 2071, Templestowe Heights, Victoria, Australia. Inside Racing, the all-new monthly publication servicing the Victorian racing industry, is a must for all owners, trainers and jockeys. The new look Inside Racing contains all programming details, contacts for trainers, jockeys and officials, news and views, feature stories, valuable breeding information and lots more. Inside Racing, the complete racing magazine. Arrange your 12-month subscription now for just $90. Phone Publications Manager Joe McGrath on 03 9258 4666. Inside Racing.
2 days later after the Cup, it's Ladies' Day at Flemington with the $500,000 Victoria Oaks sponsored by Melbourne's Crown Casino. Bart Cummings was in the spotlight again with his Danehill fillies Dashing Eagle and Denendry dominating betting.
And last of all is Order. They start to bunch up now at the 700-metre mark. Lady Reba taking off out deep. DeRobe going up to Angel's Image. Karma biting 3 out. Superb Lady 4 out. Dashing Eagle waiting for the run and right off the track. Lady Reba and further out Fairway Lass. Into the straight they come now at the 400 Angel's Image from DeRobe. 2 to Dashing Eagle, put under pressure now by Beatman. Denendry's getting up on the inside and going home better than the stablemate at the moment from Fairway Lass. It's Angel's Image in front. Here comes Denendry, followed by DeRobe, and My Bridie is starting to run home well in the middle. My Bridie is getting home. It's DeRobe, and on the inside Angel's Image and My Bridie are up on the fence. The bolter My Bridie is getting up to DeRobe, and My Bridie. My Bridie has won the Oaks. I think Denendry grabbed second.
My Brightier is prepared by Len Smith, a quietly spoken Adelaide trainer who had enjoyed a huge thrill 48 hours earlier when longshot Sky Bow ran a brave third in Saintly's Melbourne Cup. The Bellotto filly is owned by Japanese interests and represented the first Victorian Group 1 race for the Queensland-born but Sydney-domiciled rider Glenn Boss.
The feature race of the final day of the VRC Spring Carnival is the Chrysler Stakes, a Group 1 event over 1,600 metres and offering prize money of $300,000. It's traditionally one of the hardest races on the carnival, and the 1996 renewal was no exception.
Strong. Mamselle Padrille makes a line of 3, a line of 4, Kingston Bay. Salia's 5 wide, behind them Miss Margaret. They're followed further back by Sabre Suit, Rose of Portland pushing through in the middle. Then Scenic Royale, a fair way back in the race. Then Lock Ray, Shaman, Buzz off down the outside. In the straight, Mamselle Padrille, Headstrong, and now Miss Margaret getting up on the inside. Miss Margaret got the rails run, grabbed Headstrong at the 150. Miss Margaret a neck in front of Headstrong. Wider out Scenic Royale, but Miss Margaret pinched a break. Might get her home. Scenic Royale coming late, but Miss Margaret, 3/4 Scenic Royale.
The dominance of the Hayes family in this race has been quite amazing over the years. Miss Margaret gave the brothers Peter and David Hayes an unbroken 5 straight sequence of wins. David scoring with Planet Ruler, Primacy and Seascape in 92, 93 and 94, and Peter taking over the licence to score the second of Seascape's wins in 1995. This was the second Group 1 win for Miss Margaret, but first coming in the South Australian Oaks at Morfordville the previous May. The Group 1 circuit has a 3-week respite in November as racing folk around the country recover from the pressures of the 4-day Melbourne Cup Carnival. Things warm up again at Ascot, the home of West Australian racing, on November 30, for an historically significant weight for age race that has been won by such great gallopers as Family of Man, Sovereign Red, Vogue, Better Loosen Up, and even the great Kingston Town.
He's hard at work on Miss Margaret. She's dropped out to be last on the bend. In front of a Quadrupedante, and over on the inside, Sovereign Kite. But around the bend, 400 to go, and Beautiful Zoe the leader. From Bradson, Victory Dashes coming off the rails. Circles of Gold out wide as they bend. From Clever Jeff, Alcove, Summerbow, and Unpretentious, 250 to go. Bradson moves up, takes the lead from Beautiful Zoe. Here's Circles of Gold down the outside from Victory Dash and Summerbow. Circles of Gold reaches the lead, but Summerbow is coming quickly with Alcove, Summerbow, Circles of Gold at Alcove, and Summerbow. Summerbow's won the Fruit and Veggie.
These colours should be familiar to collectors of the Australasian Racing Year. They're the silks of astute West Australian owner Wally Hanna. And they've been carried by such good horses as Sanitate, Barossa Boy, and Summerbow's sire, Skyfalloon. Bob Taylor, who's trained most of Hanna's top horses, was again the winning mentor, while the successful jockey was Sean O'Donnell. The West Australian Derby is held on Boxing Day at Ascot and is another race with a rich history of superior winners. Increasingly, the fillies have been taking on the males in this 2,400 metre race, and with a substantial success rate.
500 to go, and Grey Jacamar leads a half a length. Summerbow, Fabulous going to third from Catalytic the inside, then Shades of Savile, Stylish Mahal as they corner, and behind them then Capricious Lass and Rexicon. In the straight 250 to go, Grey Jacamar the leader, a length and a half Catalytic. Summerbow's gone, running on Fabulous, Stylish Mahal, strikes swiftly, and Capricious Lass strikes swiftly, Stylish Mahal, Grey Jacamar and Capricious Lass strike swiftly, Capricious Lass, they hit the line. I'd say Capricious Lass, a no strike swiftly.
The winner, Capricious Lass, is by one of Western Australia's young gun sires, Carrier Smile, a former weight for age class sprinter who was bred and raced by the late Robert Holmes à Court. The Derby winner is from a tough American race mare named Capici, bought by Holmes à Court after a career that yielded 11 wins, including 6 group and listed races in California. We observed earlier that the Group 1 handicap races over the metric mile are the toughest on the national racing calendar. The West Australian equivalent is the Railway Stakes, decided over 1,600 metres at Ascot on December 28.
They're being followed onto the home turn by Powerful Prince, Friend Sounder, Century Blazer, Siderian, Sovereign Kite, 4 or 5 lengths to Corporate James, Well Said Nico, Bold Fimmer, Num Sing drops out last on the bend. Go the Grey first for home, tackled as they swing now by Bold Extreme on the outside, and Bold Extreme explodes. 200 to go and races 3 clear. Go the Grey Bradson, then Bar Dreamer, Century Blazer wide, but as Bold Extreme well clear by 4. Century Blazer, Bradson and Bar Dreamer, but Bold Extreme wins the railway by 2.5.
Trainer Wally Mitchell has long been regarded as one of the best trainers in the West. The 1996 Railway Stakes was simply the latest testimony to his ability, helping elevate Bold Extreme to Group 1 status after 35 starts and 5 seasons of racing, which have collectively yielded 15 wins. Tim Stubberfield was the winning rider of this 7-year-old gelding. The New Zealand Group 1 season had a very different opening this year. It opened about 7 weeks earlier than ever before, with the Celt Capital Stakes, over 2,040 metres at Hastings, having been promoted from Group 2 to Group 1 standing. The 96 Celt Capital field boasted some of New Zealand racing's best older gallopers.
And All In Fun's gone to the front again now. Magnet Bay, competitive as he can be on the insides, trying to go with him. Coming to the corner now, Colladon, All In Fun, and he'll try and sprint away. Parkaraka Star, Lord Majestic. Marconi into the clears now, starting to run on, and Love Dance is tracking them up. All In Fun's the leader now. He's a couple of lengths in front of Lord Majestic. Love Dance, Marconi, and Parkaraka Star. Love Dance in the centre. Oh, she's burst away from them. Lord Majestic going again, and then Marconi, but it's Love Dance to win the Celt.
Love Dance has been a top-level performer ever since her junior days, with her early efforts including a second to Alcove in the 95 AJC Australian Oaks at Randwick. The Karpstad mare is beautifully bred, being from a half-sister to the superb sprinter milers Hula Chief and Hula Drum. The New Zealand Classic season opens at Riccarton on the Saturday after the Melbourne Cup. Every year, the Canterbury Jockey Club's meeting is keenly awaited by New Zealand owners and breeders because it heralds the first of the classics for the new term. The 1,000 guineas is always a good barometer of the quality of the new season fillies.
Out wider, Ultimate Fun's done a bit. Groundless Threats has to get around that and further out to Tartan Bell. In behind them, Gold Cloud, Pavilion heads the rest. Aim to go, Dame Clay, Bebopalula as they race inside the 400. Emerald says go, comes clear by 2. Bubbles trying to track it down. In behind them, Groundless Threats and Tartan Bell. Femdor, Ultimate Fun and Sawwadee, then Dame Clay. In front is Emerald, 3 lengths. Bubbles not closing. 80 metres to go, and it's a Jim Campen winning the guineas once more. Down to the post it comes, and it's easing, but it's won by half a length over Bubble.
Some real classic breeding here, with Emerald being by Sir Tristram's leading sire, son Grosvenor, from the former high-class filly Jennifer Rush. Emerald was bred and raced by Jim and Jennifer Campen of Chequered Stud, and is trained by John Guddop. 4 days later, it's the boys' turn in the 2,000 guineas, and those blue and pink colours of the Campen family were to the fore again.
Round the turn for home in the 2,000 guineas, 500 to run, and the Red Express has looped them. The Red Express has gone right up on the outside of Genuine Strike. Heroes up against the rail. Right with them, Batavian. He's starting to show his superiority. Look at him put his head down and come clear. Now coming after him is Hero. In behind them is Rebel, and down the outside, Respect Me, these 4. And Bubbles not done with, but it's Batavian putting his head down, and Hero's making a race of it on the inside. They go towards the post, and it's going to be Hero, and it's a heroine that has won it. Kathy Tremaine's won both Guineas races.
Hero created history for the Campens, as no owner had ever previously won the 2 guineas in the same year. Both Emerald and Hero were ridden by the accomplished Kathy Tremaine, who has forged a strong link with the Campens and John Guddop. Hero was the first foal of the Campens' 1990 New Zealand and AJC Oaks winner Domino, a daughter of that marvellous classic influence Grosvenor. The next step along the Group 1 trail for 3-year-olds takes place on the North Island at the Otaki track, where the Levin Racing Club conducts its Bayer Classic meeting. Enormous attention centred on the rising star O'Reilly, an unbeaten son of top shuttle stallion Last Tycoon and the 1989 Golden Slipper winner, Courtser.
And Bondi Boy is last in the Bayer of 96, 600 to go. It is Tough Call a length in front of Trans-Siberia and Festival Time. Rebel goes forward. The next Kerry Grant outside of O'Reilly. They're waiting for the false rail. Quality Ace deeper out as they turn and go for home now. And Tough Call in front. Out wider, Rebels coming after it. Then Festival Time. O'Reilly's into the clear with Kerry Grant, and High Returns getting home strongly. O'Reilly at the 200 going after Rebel. Wider out, High Return is getting home with a rush. O'Reilly, Rebel, High Return out wide, trying to get them all. O'Reilly gets the Bayer. O'Reilly's lasted to beat High Return and Rebel.
As we'll see later in the Australasian Racing Year, we certainly hadn't heard the last of the well-named O'Reilly. Meanwhile, the older gallopers begin their Auckland Cup preliminaries at Avondale in early December with the running of the Group 1 FAI Avondale Gold Cup.
Into the straight, 400 metres left to go in the cup and interval, and Lord Majestic from Royston. Regal Chief not far away, Prince Zephyr, Go Vicar, and down the outside, Love Dance with the Lions Roar looking for racing room. Royston at the 200 metres hit the front in the cup. Regal Chief on the inner, they're followed by interval, Go Vicar. Regal Chief on the inside of Royston, Regal Chief and O'Sullivan the master. Regal Chief has got the cup, second home Royston.
Another victory for experience over youth, as 7-year-old Regal Chief made amends for his neck second to Love Dance in the previous year's Avondale Cup. Regal Chief is by Vice Regal's ill-fated stallion son All Glory. He was ridden by Lance O'Sullivan and trained by one of New Zealand's master conditioners, Noel Eales. While watching Emerald's win in the 1,000 guineas at Riccarton, you may have noticed the second-placed filly Bubble getting home strongly. Bubble's pedigree represents something of a New Zealand national heritage, being by the great Sir Tristram out of the 1989 Japan Cup winner Horlicks. Bubble relished the step up to 2,000 metres when capturing the Group 2 Avondale Guineas in early December. But her win forced jockey Lance O'Sullivan into a decision he didn't really want to make. With Lance maintaining the O'Sullivan family connection with Bubble managing owner Rob McAnulty was forced to look further afield for a jockey for the impressive colt Great Command. In Sydney, he found a jockey called Darren Beatman.
And the leader is Cash for Ash, about to be tackled by Brush with Fame. There's about 4 lengths away to back in the saddle. On the outside, High Return. Then we've got Captain Moonlight, Hero's Return, ridden a patient race thinner. Then we've got one moving round the outside, Beedman with Great Command. Bubbles trying to go with them as the speed gets poured on, followed by River Rider. Homeward Bound in the Derby, now sponsored by the New Zealand Herald. Great Command out wide with big loping strides. May have hit the front from Captain Moonlight. Here's Bubble down the outside and River Rider, the extreme one. Down they come, Great Command in front. On the inside, Hero's Return. They're followed by Bubble, Captain Moonlight, Great Command, Beatman working overtime the outside. Hero's Return on the inside, Great Command. Great Command has got the Derby. Hero's Return second, Captain Moonlight third.
This was probably the most emotionally satisfying win in the impressive career of McAnulty, winning the most prestigious race in New Zealand and at Ellerslie in his hometown Auckland. This was Beedman's first New Zealand Group 1 victory, and his presence at Ellerslie underpinned the Auckland Racing Club's highly successful Derby Day. The 1997 Auckland Cup was notable for a number of reasons, but most significantly for the way it gave New Zealand pride an unexpected dent. Breeding classic horses and true two-milers was always regarded as New Zealand's domain. But here was a horse called Yobro, an Australian-bred, Australian-trained interloper. A disdainful Kiwi racing public sent Yobro out virtually unwanted at tote odds of 20 to 1.
Royston now starting to make its move as they come to the bend, just over 400 to go. Interval turns for home from Yobro on the outside. They're a length and a half to Regal Chief, the favourite. On the outside, Check That Style, but then we've got back on track out wide as Sapio. Royston down the outside, but Yobro, the Aussie Hope, has got the lead now in the Cup. Interval and Regal Chief wider out. Captain Cash is starting to sprout wings. Yobro's in front for Cooksley. Interval trying to kick back on the inside. Yobro in the DB Draft Auckland Cup of 97. Yobro and Grant Cooksley score.
It had been 69 years since an Aussie-bred horse dared to take New Zealand's flagship staying trophy. And the only reason that horse, Coronax, had travelled east was because he was blind in one eye and had been banned in his home country. Yobro, however, had all his senses and provided Rosehill trainer Kirk Roberts with his most important moment in racing. The Railway Handicap is New Zealand's biggest handicap sprint race and provides a strong support to the Auckland Cup Day program. As the big field thunders up to that short run to the first turn, you know luck is going to play an integral part.
Chosen Ace came next to Inside Newt, Wise Lass and Jazzak, the tail ender rounding the corner though in the Railway, and the leader is Kaylee, challenged on the outside soon after by Coburger. La Rosewa looking for a split straight clip down the outside, followed in behind them Ballroom Babe, but Coburger's in front just now from Kaylee. La Rosewa crisp and clear and straight clip. Coburger, Matthew Williamson working overtime. Kaylee's coming back on the inside. Outrider La Rosewa, Kaylee on the inside, and crisp and clear, Kaylee, crisp and clear photos.
The Railway was clearly the most important of Kaylee's 13 wins in 3 seasons of racing. The 5-year-old is by former Group 1 winning speedster Festal, a son of former champion Vane. The big Ellerslie Sprint was a milestone in the career of international jockey Lisa Croft and her last big race achievement before taking a break to await motherhood. The winning trainer was Graham Richardson. The day after the Cup, the purists returned to Ellerslie for one of New Zealand racing's best programs, headed by the Group 1 Japan Racing Association Classic, a weight for age race over 2,000 metres.
So they race towards the 600 metres now in the Japan Racing Association Classic Group 1 event. The leader is Captain Moonlight. The 3-year-old cob by Grosvenor's out by a length and a quarter. Bialy, there's one moving round quickly now. Gold City as they swing the bend, followed Pakaraka Star, Lord Majestic Avedon. Further back to Mi Amigo, Silver Chalice and Sir Willie Montague. At the 300 metres, Captain Moonlight's holding Bialy. Pakaraka Star out wider. Then we've got Gold City. Is Avedon coming home pretty well. Captain Moonlight in front for Beedman. O'Sullivan working overtime on Bialy. Then Pakaraka Star, Silver Chalice. Captain Moonlight's holding Bialy, and Captain Moonlight has won from Bialy. Pakaraka Star third.
Captain Moonlight certainly enhanced the Derby form, having run a brave third to Great Command 8 days earlier. Full marks here to Darren Beatman, who rode the Grosvenor colt aggressively to make full use of the weight allowance for 3-year-olds. This win also precipitated a much bigger dividend than the $100,000 first prize. Captain Moonlight was subsequently sold to Hong Kong interests for a price that was reported to be around $750,000. The New Zealand Group 1 Caravan then moves down to Wellington, where the New Zealand Oaks is decided on the spacious Trentham track.
As they run up towards the home corner here in the Oaks, 600 to go. Trisha Ann still in front, going okay. Second is Top Bracket on the outside. Arletty punched up to go after the leader now. Bayo Kakao the outside, back and behind them Tiaka Lucy. Trisha Ann, Arletty's up onto the bit, goes up alongside now a couple of lengths. Bayo Kakao and Sawad D to the outside's running a race. Bayo Kakao's got to Arletty. Sawad D on the outside, then Taupri Lassen and My Time. Sawad D. Bayo Kakao is coming back. Sawad D for Chris Johnson. She'll win the Oaks.
The New Zealand Oaks represented a big step for Sawadi, whose previous best performances had been second in the Sovereign Lodge Stakes at Wanganui and third in the Group 3 Desert Gold Stakes. This was the second classic winner of the season for Checkers Stud's American-bred Deputy Governor, following on from the 2000 Guineas winner, Hero. Sawadi was ridden by Chris Johnson and trained by Shorty Howardson. Now comes one of the highlight performances of the New Zealand racing season. The event in question is the Group 1 Telegraph Handicap, a traditional and thorough test of speed. The horse to watch is the Bayer Classic winner O'Reilly, who positions up close behind the leaders in the blue, green and white colours of Gary Chittick's Waikato stud.
Further away then is Classic Royal with Matadoro and Wise Lass the last as La Rose Noir slips him at the 600. She links to the course proper about 4 lengths in front from Kaylee Meesanora the outside. Then we've got Kincape Lad O'Reilly between them, Jazak the inside. Wider out then we've got Moonlight's Coburgers looking to clear a bit of traffic. La Rose Noir, the rider's getting a bit anxious. Kaylee's coming out after it with O'Reilly. Wider out Moonlight's Coburger, Wise Lass getting up and behind them. He lets the brakes go O'Reilly's put a couple of lengths on them. Jazak runs on with Moonlight's crisp and clear, but oh yeah, he's class all right. And O'Reilly wins the Telegraph, second on an Oak.
This was a dominating performance from O'Reilly, proving himself to be a top-class sprinter and a worthy future stallion for Waikato. This was 4 wins from 4 starts for the son of international stallion Last Tycoon. Appropriately, he and his dam Kortza descend from one of Waikato's most famous families, with close relatives including Al Pompey, Mixed Flush, Lost Valley and Hunza Court. O'Reilly retires to his birthplace in 1997. The 1997 Group 1 Wellington Cup was a wide-open affair, with as many as 10 winning chances. However, when the whips were drawn and nostrils flared, it was a familiar name that was carved into the Cup's Roll of Honour.
Ed's right there. Beedman takes Bonsai Pipeline forward now. Del Coronado inside of Chuckershot, then Mac Robert. Behind them, Sapio's going forward. Pelican Brief Hand on the inside. Silver Chalice to Grey Mana. Sorayla 10, size 10, Capitain Cash and Richfield Destiny Ligero. And What a Hassle's last as they turn. Interval on the inside of Via Suez, who may have the head just in front. And here's Bonsai Pipeline. And Ed over on the inside of these. Chuckershot is getting home strongly over on the outside as to Sapio. We've got Bonsai Pipeline, Ed and Chuckershot over on the outside. Ed's coming back at Bonsai Pipeline. Chuckershot on the outside. Ed in front. L.A. O'Sullivan wins his first Wellington Cup, and Ed's done it twice in 3 years.
Lance O'Sullivan continued his amazing New Zealand Group 1 season. This was number 4 from the first 12 Group 1s decided. In fact, O'Sullivan won 9 of the 30 races at Trentham during the summer carnival. Ed won the 95 Wellington Cup for his original trainer, Cecil Beckett, but was transferred to Noel Eels because owner Bert Crooks believed the gelding would be weighted out of South Island racing. Ed joined Syniska, Great Sensation, Good Lord and Castletown as the only multiple winners of the Wellington Cup. The Thorndon Mile attracted a strong lineup headed by international galloper Viali, runner-up to Saintly in the previous year's Australian Cup at Flemington. The favourite in an open race was Winning Wave, an impressive winner of the anniversary handicap at Trentham 7 days earlier.
Then Rough Legend, Marquise and Happiness is last as they turn into Thorndon. It's the Hyatt, the lightweight going for home. A length in front of My Quota, Jazzac. The gap presented for that on the inside, followed through by Marconi. White Tahadua, Winning Wave and Viali and Marquise to the outside. Jazzac in front here from My Quota. Wide around is Winning Wave, who's coming after them very strongly now, and then Viali. Winning Wave picking up Jazzac. Viali, Rough Legend. Winning Wave makes the transition to Group 1. She's a beauty.
It was good to see Frank Ritchie of Bone Crusher fame back in the Group 1 winners' circle, this time in partnership with his 24-year-old son Craig. Winning Wave had a luxury weight of 48 kilograms, a 10.5 kilo advantage over Viali, and this was the critical factor in the win. Lee Rutherford gained the mount when Michael Coleman was unable to make the featherweight. New Zealand Derby hero Great Command had a quiet time after his game performance at Ellerslie. At Te Rapa, with no family commitments to get in the way, Lance O'Sullivan was able to renew his association with the Mike Moroney-trained gelding.
At the 500 metres in the Whakanui Stud International Stakes, and the leader, Lord Majestic. Great Command is poised to pounce on the outside. Out a little wider then is Hero's Return as they flatten, followed by Marquise. And behind them next, Chase of Fortune and Quadrado. 300 metres to go. Now O'Sullivan's now getting a little desperate on Great Command as Hero's Return, ranged up alongside of it. And behind them, Lord Majestic, then Quadrado and Marquise. At the 200, Hero's Return. Great Command, he'll have to be everything that he is today. Lord Majestic's coming back as well. And look at Quadrado, a great old go. Great Command's got his nose in front. He won it. Great Command, the favourite, got there.
Although Great Command won the 2400 metre derby, Connections believe he's a better horse at 2000. The colt is by the 82 Golden Slipper winner and two-time champion Australian sire Master, and is the most important winner to date of the former Smart Kiwi bred race mare for Solly. Like O'Reilly, Great Command was bred by Waikato Stud. The Waikato Draft Sprint is the other feature on the International Stakes program at Te Rapa. And this year, it attracted a very high-quality field. Enormous interest centred on the return to racing of former champion Viander Cross, the Australian Horse of the Year, back in 92-93. With other Group 1 winners, including Kobuja, Ballroom Babe and Avedon, this was a high-class sprint field indeed.
Off the back, 700 metres out, and it's Ballroom Babe dictating the pace by 2.5 from Secret Admirer and Coburger travelling sweetly in second spot. Right there also Dom Daniel, then spanking at the 600, followed round by Straight Clippy Nigodet, Viander across midfield and travelling 3 wide. Batavian came next, followed by Classic Royal. There's making his move from the back, Wise Lass being tracked around by Crisp and Clear. They pack right up on the corner, then Avedon and High Return and Classic Chief. Homeward bound they are, 3:50 to go. Ballroom Babe tackled by Coburger. Viander Cross is coming after them out wide. So too is Wise Lass and Crisp and Clear down the outside, and behind them Avedon. Many chances at the 200. Ballroom Babe in front. Here's Wise Lass and big bold Avedon coming through, and so too is Batavian. Avedon's got the lead for Chris Johnson. He's home. Look at High Return, Storm home, but too late. Avedon's won the Group 1 Waikato Draft Sprint.
Avedon has been competing at the highest level in New Zealand for 3 seasons. It has always been a superior galloper on left-handed or anti-clockwise tracks. Avedon had finished 4th in the 2,000 metre International Stakes 12 months earlier, clearly appreciated reverting to the 1,400 metre tree. Chris Johnson was the winning rider for trainer Patrick Campbell. The Terrace Regency Stakes has become one of the showpiece weight-for-age race events of New Zealand racing. But with the Terrace Regency sponsorship failing to be renewed, the race was called the Otaki Māori Group 1 Stakes and was a virtual rerun of the Waikato Draft Stakes a fortnight earlier, with the added dimension of 3-year-old filly It's My Sin.
2 lengths to Avedon, who's gone up outside of Viander Cross. He's the last as they run down the side, 500 to go. And here Penegold just in front now to Ballroom Babe and Rough Legend the outside. They've slipped them by 3 lengths to It's My Sin and Mr. Muffet as they turn and go for home. Penegold in the centre, Ballroom Babe on the inside. Rough Legend, It's My Sin is running home pretty well with Dom Daniel. In behind these runners, Aristocrat and Kingston Bay's drawn to the outside. Ballroom Babe inside of Penegold. It's My Sin is coming after them quickly, and Rough Legend and Avedon is flying. It's My Sin in front. She'll win the Group 1. It's My Sin, Penegold, maybe Batavian, Avedon.
It's My Sin becomes the second Group 1 winner amongst the 10 stakes winners produced by the underrated Breeders' Cup juvenile winner, Success Express. It's My Sin was produced by Rosalina, winner of the St. Leger Stakes in Denmark. The same year, Success Express blitzed his juvenile rivals in the States. There are 3 Group 1 races left for the older horses in New Zealand. The first of these features a horse familiar to Australian racing fans, Magnet Bay. Remember him leading the chase against Juggler in the Caulfield Stakes? Well, here he is on home territory in the Group 1 Harris Stakes, a 2,000-metre weight for age race at Ellerslie in Auckland.
At the 500 metres, via Suez from interval. On the inside, Heroes Return, then Magnet Bay, a gap of 3 or 4. Then by Lady Daha heads the others with Broaching and Silver Chalice trying to run into it, but they're homeward bound in the Harris Stakes, and the leader is via Suez, but here's Magnet Bay. Out centre, Track has claimed it, followed by Interval in the centre. Further back to Heroes Return, Silver Chalice, best of the others. Magnet Bay and Vinnie Colgan in front. Lee Rutherford on Interval trying to pick it back on the inside, and via Suez sticking grimly. It's a 3-horse war in the Harris Stakes. Magnet Bay and Lee Rutherford with Interval, but Magnet Bay's holding. Magnet Bay took out the Harris Stakes.
Magnet Bay is one of 5 stakes winners produced by the disappointing European stayer Golden Ivory, who has since returned to the Northern Hemisphere after failing to make the grade from his idyllic base at Cambridge Stud. This was some compensation to trainer Danny Fry after a frustrating Melbourne campaign when Magnet Bay was dogged by hard tracks. Emerging horseman Vinnie Colgan was the winning rider. As a 2-year-old, Ballroom Babe had promised the world, with wins in the Group 1 juvenile double at Manawatu and Ellerslie by an average 11.5 lengths. Ballroom Babe was sidelined for almost her entire 3-year-old season, but it was a great training effort from trainer Graham Sanders to get her back into Group 1 form at 4.
She comes to the 600 metres, a length clear on Rough Legend. Batavian hasn't had much luck. Kingston Bay's awaiting the run. Then it's Spice and Avedon and Edge the last as they turn and go for home. And the TVNZ Captain Cook and still Ballroom Babe. Kingston Bay's out to have a shot at her now. Then we've got It's Mice and Avedon getting up and behind them. Ed starting to warm up on the outside, but she's kicked. Ballroom Babe's got 3 on them now. Ballroom Babe with 150 to go from Kingston Bay, then Avedon, It's Bison and Ed, but it's all Ballroom Babe. Ballroom Babe back to Group 1 winning form, and she has blitzed them in the TVNZ.
It's worth noting that Ballroom Babe backed up 7 days later to win the Group 2 New Zealand Thoroughbred Breeders' Stakes at Tiara. The Easter Handicap is New Zealand's equivalent of the Doncaster at Randwick, but the race is frequently marred by heavy ground. This wasn't the case in '97, with the ground at Ellerslie looking to be absolutely on fire.
A length and a half for the favourite, Moss Downs travelling the leader, or about 12 lengths, and they're followed by Maxim. Further back, High Return, the Phantom, Chance, Cactus, Jack and Knock Robin. So they come to the turn now in the Group 1 Sleepy Head Easter Handicap, and the leader is Ballroom Babe. Ballroom Babe by a length and a half, Batavian, followed Aristocrat and Patong. In behind them, Jazzak is angling out Love Dance. Here's Moss Downs, the favourite, right down the outside for O'Sullivan. Looks a pretty good run to me. Moss Downs has gone to Ballroom Babe, who's fighting back Patong, and Jazzak between them, but Moss Downs in front in the Sleepyhead Easter Handicap, and the favourite's going to be too good. Moss Downs first, Jazzak second.
This was clearly one of the best Easter Handicap fields of recent years. Yet, Moss Downs treated them with contempt, spearing away to win by 2 1/4 lengths in blistering time of 1:32.34. Only top gallopers Kiwi Can and Corndale have gone around Ellerslie any faster. Moss Downs was once barred from racing, but was diligently rehabilitated by Chris McNabb. That man, Lance O'Sullivan, was once again the winning jockey, making it 6 Group 1s from 20 New Zealand Group 1 races. The 2 Group 1 races for juveniles, the Sires Produce at Awapuni and Ellerslie, will be shown later in our Trans-Tasman special on the 2-year-old stars of 1997.
Yeah, the great thing about Di and Beedman is they know how to win the big ones. They're quite different jockeys, which makes it even more interesting in the sense that Darren is a lovely stylist and he rides them on a lovely long rein. He got lovely balance and he looks always as though he's just doing everything perfectly. Shane is totally his own man. I reckon Shane's got an enormous amount of courage because beyond the normal courage of a jockey, he's also got the courage of his convictions. And if he decides he's going to ride a certain way, he does. And more often than not, he gets it right. And he might look a bit messy from time to time, particularly when he gets his left knee screwed into the saddle there in a finish. But you would have to say he's the finest strategist riding horses in Australia today.
By the time Australia Day rolls around at the back end of January, Melbourne racing fans have been 2.5 months without a Group 1 race. They invariably show their appreciation for the return of top-level competition by flocking to Moonee Valley for the Sunny Crust Australia Stakes.
Settling down, Spartacus goes up on the outside of Apple Danish. Spartacus a half, now neck in front of Apple Danish on the rail, 2 further back in the race, Regal Centre, who's third on the outside of Sequalo, 2.5 further back, running fifth is Mahogany, then Flavour inside him from Del Sol, 3 out, 2 lengths to Captain Lee, and Star Dancer appeared to dip slightly there last of all. 6.50 out now, and the leader Spartacus, 3/4 Apple Danish, Regal Centre third around Sequalo. Here's Mahogany putting in his run, he's about 3 lengths off them, about to come to the outside now by Dittman, 1.5 lengths Flavour trying to get away from the fence from Captain Lee. Spartacus in front with Mahogany ranging up quickly on the outside. Apple Danish has gone from Captain Lee. The other struggling further back, Flavour. On the turn, Spartacus ahead in front, but Mahogany races to him now. Mahogany ranges to Spartacus inside the 200. They're clear of Captain Lee. Mahogany's got his head in front. Spartacus coming again. Spartacus fights back, gets his neck in front of Mahogany. Spartacus in front. Great performance. Spartacus wins a neck to Mahogany.
This was an exciting race and a high rating one, and it wasn't the last we'd see of either Spartacus or Mahogany. Earlier in February, the champion returned. Saintly, the first horse for 43 years to win the Cox Plate and the Melbourne Cup, returned to action in the Group 1 CF4 Stakes, normally run at Sandown, but this year decided over the 1400-metre circuit at Caulfield.
Cut Up Rough went to the lead at the 600-metre mark. A half Regal Centre still with the rail and Flavour right there with them. He's moving up 3 wide, 1.5 Captain Lee, Star Dancer. Saintly is in an awkward place with Rubidium outside him coming to the turn. Lockray takes off, Doremus last. At the bend, Cut Up Rough the middle, Flavour the outside, Regal Centre turn in front of Captain Lee. And then came Star Dancer and 2 or 3 lengths further back. Saintly spotting the leaders, 5, 2.50 out. Regal Centre fights back on the inside again, puts his nose in front of Cut Up Rough. Flavour on the outside, then came Star Dancer. Saintly is lengthening, and in the last little bit, he's storming over the top of them. The mighty horse from heaven. Saintly has got up to win it from Cut Up Rough.
What an amazing finish from this high-class galloper. In winning the All Stakes, Saintly emulated the performances of Attilac, Vetzelo and Jean, who all won the Melbourne Cup before returning to score brilliant first-up victories at 1400 metres. Tragically, this was the last we'd see of Saintly for the season. The 4-year-old bowed a tendon some 10 days later.
Saintly was special. He promised an awful lot as a 3-year-old and he looked very good, but in the spring he really delivered. And anyone who saw him in that spring will never forget him. He was one of the great sights of racing when he got going. He was as long as a train. He'd go with his neck out and low. He'd have his ears buried back in his mane, just like his old man Sky Chase. And a huge stride. It was almost as though there was a 4-wheel drive there, not a 2-wheel drive. He seemed to be springing off his front legs as well as his back legs. And if you saw him in the Cup, you've never seen a Cup won that easy. You've never seen a Cup won so far out. And you just won't forget it. He was very, very special.
We promised you more action from Spartacus and Mahogany. Watch this.
Racing to the 400, Armadale on the rails just in front. Spartacus 3 out, coming out up Sequalo in the centre. Then came Mahogany looking for an out. He's had to ease over Sequalo's heels. Can Grande on his outside might pocket him here. He's in trouble there, Mahogany. At the 200-metre mark, Spartacus hits the front. Can Grande's coming at him on the outside. Mahogany without a lot of room is trying to squeeze through. He's got through Mahogany. He pounced on the lead from Can Grande and Spartacus. And Mahogany, despite difficulties, draws away to win 1.5 lengths from Can Grande and Spartacus third.
What a phenomenal racehorse is Mahogany. A dual Group 1 winner at 2 and a 4-time Classic winner at 3. Not to mention being 1993-94 Horse of the Year. He went within a whisker of winning the 1995 Cox Plate, just being nosed out by Octagon. And now he wins his second Lightning Stakes over the minimum trip of 1,000 metres. Mahogany is owned by Kerry Packer and Lloyd Williams and was ridden by his usual jockey Greg Hall.
Spartacus was a shade disappointing in the Lightning, but there was a strong line of thought that the colt was a much better horse around a corner. Trainer Rick Orlacey engaged Darren Beedman for the 3-year-old's next assignment, the Group 1 Oakley Plate, reputedly Australia's toughest test of speed. Racing in the Oakley Plate, Can Grande began okay near the inside and Moss Rocket out fast and Spartacus came out running. Spartacus and Can Grande land in front with Spartacus heading off Can Grande 2 to Street Talk, followed by Moss Rocket fourth. They're 4 lengths already in front now from Another Excuse outside at Rock You and a gap to Ruffles, Blazing Reality, Royal Discard, Clang. Further back in the race then came on the inside at the head of the others would have been Always a Chance and Prince Marauding. They went hard early, they backed it off and Spartacus a half, Can Grande 2 further back, Street Talk. 1 then to Moss Rocket, 3 then to Rock You running 5th, followed further back by Another Excuse, Ruffles a gap then Clang and well back Blazing Reality and Prince Marauding on the turn and the leader on the inside, Spartacus from Can Grande on the outside coming after him, but Spartacus slipped about 3/4 in front of Can Grande down to the 252 lengths further back then Rock You starting to pick up ground from Moss Rocket. Spartacus in front of the 150. Can Grande can't get him. Rock You on the outside coming home well. Spartacus hanging on. He's holding Rock You. Can Grande and running on late. Another Excuse. Spartacus wins the Oakley. From Rock You, a photo for third.
Spartacus turned in a blinding performance of sustained top-class speed in a performance rated by Mark Reed as 1.5 lengths superior to Scalacci's 92 Oakley Plate. Spartacus was selected and purchased as a yearling by Rick Orlacey. His previous best-known horse was the 1990 Golden Slipper winner, Canny Lad.
Mahogany's second Lightning Stakes gave Connections the confidence to plan to start in the rich Newmarket Handicap. This year's Newmarket was highly unusual. It's the country's most testing sprint race, but the field did not contain a single natural leader. The response by top jockey Shane Dye to that unlikely scenario was to lead on the Newcastle-trained and Sydney-owned mare Ruffles. To the outside now a Century Blazer as they go to the 700-metre mark and the leader is Ruffles, a length and a half in front from Flavour second, 2 lengths further back O'Reilly on the outside of Cut Up Rough, then Rock You further out from Apple Danish, behind those is Catalan Opening. Mahogany is a long way back, he's back last, just in front of him now is Lord Luskin, and at the moment O'Reilly's under a lot of pressure. He's gone, O'Reilly, he's been eased up out of the race, he's broken down O'Reilly and Ruffles 4 in front of Flavour. Then Catalan Opening starting to rattle home from All Our Mob. Then Mahogany coming late, but Ruffles is a mile in front. He's 3 lengths Catalan Opening. Now Mahogany, All Our Mob finishing hard, but Ruffles wins the Newmarket. A length and a half to either Catalan Opening or All Our Mob.
Ruffles was the second Group 1 winner by New Haven Park's underrated speed influence, Zedative, Australia's champion 3-year-old sprinter of 89.90. Ruffles is prepared by Max Leeds, who has no peer as a trainer of fillies and mares. And she was ridden with typical confidence by Shane Dye.
This was a Canterbury Guineas with a difference, being run at Rose Hill for the first time since 1981. The race boasted the presence of the dual New Zealand Group 1 winner, Great Command, who started favourite in an open betting race.
Might and Power the leader, West Point second, third Kiwi Hero. King Ivor's been 3 deep from the outset into Gaze, getting a lovely run, followed by Flak Jacket. Great Command will want a bit of luck. He's bailed up on the fence. He's a Dane in a spot of bother, followed by Ebony Grove, who'll be carted deep on the turn and sweeping right around the outside. Baboo's Boy as they turn the corner. 400 out, Might and Power the leader. West Point goes to him pretty easily on the outside. Into Gaze is after them now, and Great Command into the clear, taking a while to get going. At the 200, Might and Power fighting back. West Point's gone. Into Gaze has grabbed Might and Power. They're clear of Great Command, but Into Gaze shot clear 100 metres out. Craig Carmody goes for home, and Into Gaze for the Canterbury Guineas. Into Gaze beat Might and Power, gallant in defeat.
Into Gaze won 2 Group 1 races for the season, as well as finishing second to Alpha in the Caulfield Guineas and runner-up again in the Rose Hill Guineas. As we'll see later, Into Gaze proved something of a giant killer when tried against the older horses at weight for age.
And now on the Australasian Racing Year, it's our pleasure to present a feature on the 2 horses who, apart from Saintly, most captured the imagination of the racing public during the season 96-97. They, of course, were the reigning Horse of the Year Octagonal and his younger brother, the brilliant Moa. Both horses are by the 1990 Australian Guineas winner Seville, from the gilt-edged British-bred broodmare 8 Carat, who is now credited with a world record equalling 5 Group 1 winning sons and daughters. Octagonal we knew oh so well, having watched him rack up 5 Group 1 wins the previous season, including the Cox Plate and the AJC Australian Derby. But Norwood was an unknown quantity until hitting the track for the first time in early October. Octagonal started the season showing some signs that his tough 3-year-old campaign had taken its toll, but he soon hit his straps when reunited with Darren Beedman in the Group 1 Underwood Stakes at Caulfield.
And Octagonal the widest into the straight now, bunched at the top of the straight. Cellius took the lead now from Station Hand, running on Furama Night Saboom. Toilers barging into the open. Count Shivers coming down the outside with Octagonal. He's putting in on the outside. Cellius the leader. Count Shivers and Octagonal. Octagonal and Count Shivers. Octagonal, he's back.
It wasn't until the autumn that Octagonal returned to the height of his powers. In this race, the Group 1 Chipping Norton Stakes, he's opposed to the horse with the fastest finishing sprint of any horse in Australia, the Gay Waterhouse trained juggler. Witness now the tactical ride of the year from Octagonal's rider, Raymond Shane Dye.
Dye makes a quick move on Octagonal. Glenn Boss on Juggler tried to go with him, but Octagonal showed an amazing turn of speed past the 600. He's exploded around the outside to go to the front as they come to the turn. Daring tactics by Shane Dye. Will they pay off? He's got Octagonal in full flight on the corner, led by a length and a half to Juggler, who's moving to second. Falante third, flat to the boards, and the other two are beaten off. Octagonal first into the straight. He's got a 2-length break on Juggler. Boss goes for the whip on Juggler, who's coming out after Rocky. Octagonal's in front, 100 out. Juggler is trying desperately to pick him up, but bold tactics by Shane Dye are going to pay off, and he pinches the Chipping Norton.
Octagonal received the best reception given to any horse of Warwick Farm since the heady days of Kingston Town. With the Big O now firmly back on track, the Ingham brothers and trainer John Hawkes had 2 options. One to stay in Sydney for the slightly weaker Randwick Stakes. The other was to travel to Melbourne for the $1.2 million Group 1 Australian Cup.
A length in front from Perfect Bound, going up third, but he's been 3 deep around Royal Line. Nothing like a Dana's over on the fence, bottled up, a length for the back Juggler. Then Gold City further back to Remus. Then came Vianda across, and Dye and Octagonal still last. Around the turn in the Australian Cup, they straighten up, and Estadad has gone to the lead. Thompson sooled him to the front. Estadad, he's gone for home. A length and a half, Perfect Bound. Here's Juggler putting in his run. And here comes the Big O down the centre of the track with a great run. It's Juggler and Octagonal racing up at the 300-metre mark to grab Estadad. Juggler's put his head in front. Octagonal, Estadad, followed by Gold City. It's Juggler a neck in front. Octagonal trying to lift. Gold City back on the fence. Octagonal, Juggler and Gold City down to the line. Octagonal, he's got there outside.
Then it was back to Sydney for the Group 1 Mercedes Classic, the richest and most prestigious weight for age race in New South Wales, and one which Octagonal had won 12 months earlier as a 3-year-old.
He's about to shut into the clear on Occy, but he's giving them a fair start as they turn for home. Magnet Bay and Circles of Gold. Estadad looming up to them from Arcady. Octagonal's into the clear. He's starting to wind up here. He comes, the Big O down the outside. Estadad, Arcady, but Octagonal is getting to them with every stride. Arcady put his head in front. Octagonal is lunging as he always does. Estadad fighting back. Arcady and Octagonal. Oh, Arcady maybe.
Only one race caller, the ABC's David Morrow, called Octagonal as getting this tricky photo decision, and no one at Rosehill knew for sure until the number went in the frame. The Rosehill grandstands were packed sardine tight as racegoers clamoured for even a glimpse of the People's Champion. They cheered Octagonal, they cheered Shane Dye, they applauded John Hawkes, and they stretched over the mounting yard fence to shake the hands of owners Jack and Bob Ingham. This was truly one of racing's great moments. The Inghams announced that Octagonal would have just one more race, coming back from 2,400 metres to 2,000 metres in the Group 1 Queen Elizabeth Stakes at Randwick on April 12. The Australian Jockey Club promoted the socks off this meeting, and everyone prayed that the Big O could be farewelled on a winning note.
By G, Dye's getting busy on Octagonal. He's pulled the whip on the champ as they turn for home, where he's giving the leaders about 6 lengths. Kingston Bay and Electronic. Here comes the mobster. Into Gaze on the outside, a length away. Octagonal, here he comes now. Into Gaze and all our mob have headed Electronic. Octagonal's got a battle on his hands. Dye's throwing everything at him. The 3-year-old Into Gaze has burst clear 100 metres out. The Big O can't do any better, try as he may. Into Gaze has spoiled the party. A brilliant ride by Carmody. Into Gaze in an upset, beat Octagonal.
The fairy tale didn't quite have a fairy tale ending, with the Canterbury Guineas winner Into Gaze, a 3-year-old, having a bit too much advantage under the weight for age scale. Mind you, Wintergaze needed to pull out a career best performance to beat the champ. Octagonal bowed out the greatest stakes winner in the history of Australian racing, having banked $5.9 million from just 28 starts, resulting in 14 wins. That included an astonishing 10 at Group 1 level. To put some international perspective on this accomplishment, the only stallions ever to achieve 10 Group 1 winners across their 2-, 3 and 4-year-old seasons were the all-time great American racers, Spectacular Bid and Native Dancer. Octagonal really was the horse who did it all. He was officially Australia's champion 2-year-old, who not only grew into our champion 3-year-old, he was the best we've seen since the mighty Kingston Town. And at 4, he returned to win yet another 4 Group 1 races. The last word on Octagonal must go to jockey Shane Dye, who said, "Over my career I've ridden a lot of great horses, but only one champion, Octagonal." It was marvellous enough that we should bear witness to a horse as great as Octagonal. But in the same season, his 3-year-old brother, Mulward, exploded onto the scene with a display of racing brilliance that's rarely matched. This exciting colt was purchased by Auckland bloodstock consultant Rob McNulty for $400,000 at the Inglis Easter Yearling Sales in 1995. After an unbeaten 3-start spring campaign and a controversial first-up defeat at Randwick, Mulward was flown south for what should have been a testing encounter with the Group 1 Caulfield Guineas winner, Alpha.
300 to go, Morward and neck Toledo, 2 civil list, here comes Alpha, he's starting to lengthen stride well, Morward at the 200 has 2 lengths, Alpha and Toledo, it's Morward 150 to go, he's 2 lengths to Alpha, it's Morward holding Alpha at bay at the moment, he might have just died and he's run and then Toledo, but Morward, although tested mid-race, goes on to win by a length and a half to Alpha.
Alpha went and missed shortly after that race with a tendon strain and was forced to miss the Australian Guineas. But in his place was New Zealand's unbeaten 3-year-old and dual Group 1 winner, O'Reilly.
The favourites had a good run, and Morward is in front, coming up to the 600-metre mark from Regal Centre. He's going to corner about 3/4 clear. Tarn Purlane, the first one to ease out 3 wide now. O'Reilly getting up behind the leader into the straight. There's a gap there, and he's got out O'Reilly O'Sullivan now. At the 400, Morward in front, O'Reilly challenging. Tarn Purlane wider out, and then King Ivor. Morward at the 300 getting off the rails, but he's 2 lengths to O'Reilly, and then Tarn Purlane. King Ivor is struggling. 150 to go. Morward's gapped them. He's raced 2.5, 3 in front now from O'Reilly and Tarn Purlane, and it's Morward. He's too good and all the way. Morward wins the Guineas by over 2 lengths O'Reilly.
After that, trainer Clary Connors freshened up Morward for a return to the 1400 metres against the older horses in the Group 1 Futurity Stakes at Caulfield.
Heading to the 600, Morward by a half a length to Star Dancer. 2 lengths away, Zuccarino, Del Sol, the inside one, cut up rough and 2 to Shame. They're doing the turn now. The 3-year-old Morward still about a half to 3/4. Star Dancer niggled at to stay with him. Zuccarino easing out from Del Sol, cut up rough and Shame. Morward for home, led by about a length here. Cooksley had a look across his shoulder, sent him away by 2 lengths. Zuccarino gets to second from Del Sol, Star Dancer. Then cut up rough with Shame. They're inside the 200, and Morward with his dazzling sprint put up 2 lengths now to Shame, who's rocketing down the outside. Morward is clear. Shame coming at the 3-year-old, but Morward is too good. And Morward a length and a half to Shame.
From there, connections headed back to Sydney with Morward for another weight for age race that's steeped in history. The Group 1 George Ryder Stakes, a race whose list of past winners include champions Manicardo, Emancipation and the mighty Melbourne sprinter Hariba.
They're tightly bunched on the corner, and Muward with the inside running again took a narrow lead over Monet's Cove. Kingston Bay pushing into the clear, followed by Sprint by Secret Saving struggling, and Anthem's coming right down the extreme outside, and Shame is trying to get between horses. Muward flat to the boards, pinched about a length on Monet's Cove. Secret Saving's not done with yet. He's getting another go on. Anthems can't go on, but the 3-year-old Muward, Ocky's little brother, and Muward wins another Group 1. Muward beats Shame.
We didn't know it at the time, but that was the last time we would see this excitement machine in action. Mulward was a short price favourite for the $1.1 million Doncaster handicap, but was withdrawn on the eve of the race when trainer Clary Connors detected a slight swelling in one front leg. 4 of the country's most eminent veterinary surgeons were consulted before the final decision was given that not only would Mulward miss the Doncaster, but he would be retired immediately. So, how will Mulward be remembered? While Europeans are understanding of their champions being here 1 minute and gone the next, Australians are much more judgmental. Rarely can they get too much of a good horse. Mulward raced just 8 times for 7 wins. He raced in Stakes Company 5 times for 5 wins, and in Group 1 class 3 times for 3 clear-cut wins.
Octagonal and Mulward are brothers, being by Sir Tristram's 1990 Australian Guineas winner and heir apparent, Zabeel, from the champion broodmare 8 Carat, who gained world acclaim in 1997 as the dam of her 5th individual Group 1 winner. Not only does this pedigree contain the bloodlines of the freakish sires Sir Tristram, Nureyev and Northern Dancer, but it descends from the Aga Khan's legendary flying filly, Mumtaz Mahal. Not only is this family recognised for its great racehorses, but breeders the world over look to it as a source of leading sires like Nasrallah, Royal Charger and the mighty Tudor Minstrel, and more recently, Kalamoon, Adran and Nassipur. Moorwad will remain in Australia to stand at Queensland's Glenlogan Park stud at a fee of $20,000. Octagonal, of course, will stand at the Hunter Valley Showplace Woodland stud at a fee of $30,000. A record for a Southern Hemisphere bred first season sire.
Well, what can you say about Octagonal? He did everything at the death. He lived on the brink. He was all about raw heroics. He was the sort of horse, if you saw him, you'll never forget him, and I'll be talking about him in 40, 50 years' time. He was the best 3-year-old since Kingston Town. You could make out a sensible argument that in some ways he was even better as a 3-year-old than Kingston Town. He went faster than him. And then he had that bad patch and he lost his action, and we all thought he was gone. And lo and behold, along he comes, and he's back as good as he was as a 3-year-old, as a 4-year-old. And to see him winning at literally the death, in extremis, at the last possible moment, winning when you didn't think he could win, it's indescribable, but if you saw it, you won't ever forget it. Now, Muad is out of the same mare, 8 Carat, which means she's a pretty amazing mare to have thrown 2 horses like that. Muad we didn't see nearly as much of. What we saw was terrific. He probably should be unbeaten. And he just went through the classes literally and ended up reeling off Group 1s. Different horse to Octagonal, not as elegant as Octagonal, but more like a stallion. Won effortlessly in Melbourne, and probably, whereas Octagonal was fully tested, probably what we got to say about Muad is we probably didn't see the best of him, but we saw enough to know he's going to be something as a sire.
For horse insurance, call Logan's, the trusted name in horse insurance. Logan Livestock Insurance is all the protection you need for your valuable thoroughbred. Whether your stallion is valued at $25 million, as the payout on World Champion Cigar proved, or $25,000, Logan's will protect your investment, whether it be stallions, racehorses, mares, foals, yearlings, or unborn foals. Take advantage of over 34 years' experience. Call Logan's for friendly, helpful advice. The Logan's hotline is 02 9909 1499, or free call 1800 621 499. Logan's for horse insurance.
The winner of the previous race has won a bonus for all connections. Super Vobis events pay big cash bonuses for qualified winners. Super Vobis, Alitalia, Abercrombie and Kent. Simply the best way to travel.
Millwood took out 2 legs of the Australian Triple Crown that would have netted connections a $250,000 bonus. In '98, the scheme will include a 3-year-old fillies and 3-year-old colts and geldings Triple Crown. The Sydney Turf Club Carnival includes one race that's unique to the national Group 1 calendar. The Coolmore Classic is a handicap race for fillies and mares worth $300,000, and it's decided over 1,500 metres at Rose Hill. Throughout the season, we'd seen some stirring duels between the top 3-year-old fillies, Dashing Eagle and Assertive Lass, and here they were in mortal combat again. But this time, Assertive Lass had a slight advantage at the handicaps.
600 metres out as they near the turn. Misty Dawn the leader. Assertive Lass second. Timeless wins third, followed by Precious Glitter 3 deep as Amber, and then Priceless Joy on the fence, followed by Hello Dull. Further back as Love Dance and Dashing Eagle, giving them a very big start. Bionic Bess and Shindigger a mile back. In the straight, Misty Dawn running a heck of a race. Assertive Lass is getting out after her now. Here's Timeless wins down the outside, and they're clear of Priceless Joy, followed by Hello Dull. Assertive Lass went to the lead 100 metres out over Misty Dawn, followed by Timeless wins, but Assertive Lass sent hard to the line by Die Is Too Good and wins the Coolmore.
This was the second successive year that a daughter of Zetated had won the Coolmore, following on from Thoroughbred in '96. Assertive Lass is one of 5 individual Group 1 winners bought by Gay Waterhouse in her short career to date. She cost only $38,000 as a year. The winning jockey was him again, Shane Blythe. With Octagonal and Juggler having headed to Melbourne for the Australian Cup after their Chipping Norton Stakes Quinella, we watched the Group 1 Ranvet Stakes with interest.
Mojave Dancer first into the straight over Iron Horse, and Dupan on the outside is now winding up, followed by Circles of Gold Arcady. Further out Campaign Warrior, and then Hula Flight and the Bandette as they come down to the 200 where Iron Horse hit the front, but Hula Flight sprinting quickly has raced up on the outside. Hula Flight has grabbed the lead. Iron Horse has gone. The Bandette with a late charge. Arcady getting through on the rail. Hula Flight and Arcady. Arcady on the fence and Hula Flight on the outside as they hit the line, but Arcady
earned his way to Rosehill via the Queanbeyan Cup in country New South Wales, adding a totally fresh chapter on how to prepare a horse for a Group 1 weight for age race. This was a season's highlight for the skilled Randwick trainer John Morrish and the highly regarded horseman John Marshall. You'll recall how Intergaze made his rivals look second-rate in the Canterbury Guineas. Most professional punters thought the Integra colt was in need of a run that day. 2 weeks later, looking to have made the required physical progress, Intergaze was a short price favourite to take out the Group 1 AAMI Rosehill Guineas.
Might and Power and Star Cover to the 2 leaders clear of Random. Ebony Grove came out suddenly. He's a Dane, all but fell. He was badly interfered with, and Intergaze is chiming in on the outside. Look at him sprint. Intergaze has raced to the lead at the 200 mark over Star Covet. Ebony Grove is whacking away, and then Tarnpur Lane from a long way back, but Intergaze well clear with 100 to go. The Victorian Tarnpur Lane is charging home. Intergaze is feeling the pinch. Tarnpur Lane on the outside lunged and got him.
Tarnpur Lane is an all-Victorian horse, being by the Century Stallion Average Game from the no-alcoholic mare Spoil the Party. This was quite an amazing victory because Tarnpur Lane was virtually knocked out of the race by a runner that broke down at the 1200 metres. This was the second Group 1 in the blossoming career of 28-year-old trainer Cliff Brown. 7 days later, the fillies get their turn in a Group 1 race at set weights over 2,000 metres.
Into the straight, Elegant caught the leader. Emerald has dropped off. Tambour in the centre. Assertive Lass between runners, followed by Priceless Joy, Ella Capella, Shigeru Charlotte, and Danendry sneaking up behind them as Assertive Lass burst to the lead. Assertive Lass shot clear at the 200. Danendry, after getting a bump, has grabbed her in one stride. Danendry shot to the lead, 100 out from Ella Capella, Assertive Lass, but Danendry, she got a big bump in the straight, but it didn't worry her one iota.
Bart Cummings had won the Australian Jockey Club Derby 3 times in his illustrious training career, but he'd never previously started a filly. This year, he figured, was one of the weaker derbies, and maybe, just maybe, Danendry was up to winning it. The daughter of Danehill was a surprisingly short price favourite to topple the males in Australasia's richest race for 3-year-olds, the $1.1 million AJC Australian Derby. This year, sponsored for the first time by Sydney Harbour Casino.
Danendry will have to do a mighty job, and last is Ebony Grove. Coming over the rise, and Torbolino hit the lead in the derby from Don Tristram. Further out is Turn Me Loose, and then Flak Jacket Heroes Return. Coming right down the outside, Tarnpur Lane. Intergaze is now getting a split between them. Here's Danendry and Ebony Grove coming from Stone, Motherless last. Danendry and Ebony Grove go to the lead together. It's Dye and Beedman. Ebony Grove, Danendry, desperately close. Ebony Grove maybe a nose to Danendry.
Ebony Grove had only won the 1 race before the Derby, the Spring Stakes at Newcastle the previous September. However, this neat black colt had been one of the toughest competitors for the season, having contested 5 Group 1s before the Derby. The hot pace up front made sure this was a true staying test, with the patiently ridden Ebony Grove and Danendry coming from last and second last respectively to fight the race out. On the Derby Day program, the Sydney Harbour Casino Doncaster Handicap attracted the smallest field in memory, probably due to the pre-post dominance of the outstanding 3-year-old Muawad. But when the boom colt was withdrawn on race eve, the richest handicap mile in the country was suddenly thrown wide open.
Inside the 600 mark, Ravada the leader from All Our Mob. Kingston Bay third, Secret Savings fourth, Shame with nowhere to go. And then Brackenbury Catalan Opening is about to take off around the outside, followed by Buzz Off, Iron Horse and Ken Bell. Over the rise, All Our Mob headed Ravada. Secret Savings a length away, is running on strongly. Shame into the clear, then Catalan Opening. All Our Mob the leader at the 200. Secret Savings is coming at him strongly. Is it a Waterhouse Quinella? Secret Savings and All Our Mob have come away. They're fighting it out. Secret Savings just the leader from All Our Mob, and Larry Cassidy on Secret Savings for the Doncaster.
Secret Savings, an American horse with a beautiful pedigree, arrived in Australia not having won a stakes race. But under the tutelage of Gay Waterhouse, he went straight to the top. Here he carried second top weight of 57 kilos to beat that marvellous veteran All Our Mob, not only giving Waterhouse the Doncaster Quinella, but her fourth successive win in the big metric mile. 7 days after the Doncaster came an ideal opportunity for 7-year-old All Our Mob to grace the Randwick winner's circle. The Secret Savings form was certainly sound enough, and punters had no hesitation in stepping in to make the mobster an odds-on favourite.
All Our Mob is now easing out 3 deep. Pearl Princess pratted 4 wide on the corner. Shame is right on their heels, turning for home, and Nick's Joy is last of the 6 as they come over the rise. Kingston Bay joined quickly by Catalan Opening, but here comes the mobster. All Our Mob on the outside has raced up quickly and put his head in front of Catalan Opening. It's All Our Mob taking a half-length lead over Catalan Opening, who's not going to give in cheaply. He's fighting back strongly. Shame is starting to motor home, but All Our Mob sent hard to the line by little Chrissy Munce, and All Our Mob wins the All-Age Stakes in great style over Shame.
This was Group 1, number 2 for the season for this popular gelding, having earlier belted the top horse for Lont in the McKinnon Stakes at Flemington on Derby Day. All Our Mob was handled here by Chris Munce, with Shane Dye watching from the grandstand due to suspension. On the same program, the AJC hosted the $700,000 Schweppes Sydney Cup. Trainer Gay Waterhouse had dominated the Sydney staying races all season, and there was no sign of the pattern being altered here.
Linesman leads the cup field around the corner. He's 2 lengths or more in front of Aurum Heights. Here's Nothing Like a Dane looming into second place, followed by Magnet Bay and then Istadard Grandmaster. Ebony Grove is into the clear now and is giving them about 7 lengths as they come over the rise, where Linesman is a mile in front. Linesman by about 4 lengths to Nothing Like a Dane. Ebony Grove down the middle of the track. Istadard is battling away, but Linesman in the Harry Lawton colours is 6 lengths in front of Ebony Grove and Nothing Like a Dane. He's a fair dinkum genuine stayer, Linesman. He could go around again. Linesman bolts away with the Sydney Cup.
Linesman was enterprisingly ridden by Larry Cassidy. This completed the Doncaster Sydney Cup double for Cassidy, who only returned to Sydney in February after spending part of the season in Hong Kong. In winning her first Sydney Cup, Gay Waterhouse created another training milestone, becoming the first trainer ever to Quinella the Doncaster and the Sydney Cup in the 1 year.
Yeah, well, unlike Bart, Gay always seems to be working. There's a tremendous energy there, and some would say she's probably even better looking than Bart. But Gay's probably the best thing that's happened to racing in years. She's got that ability to sell the game to people who otherwise mightn't be interested in it. And I think you've got to say, too, that beyond the glamour, perhaps there's too much emphasis put on the glamour, beyond the glamour, she's a terrific horsewoman. You've only got to look at the way her horses come up the track here. And they're just like TJs. They're all muscle and bone. They don't play up, they get out and they work hard and they go back and they eat up. And when you see her horses, you think of the days when TJ was bringing Red Crays and those sort of horses down here. She's a heck of a good horsewoman. Yeah, Gay's made Randwick her own, just the way her father has, particularly in the autumn. They run a Doncaster now. You expect Gay to win it. Maybe you expect her to run the Quinella in it. And she's done some wonderful things up there. The year of the jockey tape, she virtually saved the game by winning the Doncaster with Pharaoh. And she just dominates Sydney the way her father does, but she also, when it matters, she's pretty big in Melbourne too.
The Galaxy is Sydney's equivalent of the Oakley Plate, an open handicap over 1,100 metres in which the speed is on from the outset. It's been won over the years by some brilliant sprinters, like Bletchingley, Luskin Star, Snippets and the champion Schilacci.
Into the straight, Line Hunter well clear. Ruffles looming into second place. Can Grande third, under pressure coming over the rise. And then Accomplice followed by Unison on the fence. Further out, Sovereign State and City Success not doing enough. Line Hunter in front at the 200 mark. Accomplice is the big danger. Accomplice on the outside has raced up to Line Hunter. They're clear of Ruffles and Unison. Accomplice takes the lead close to home. Larry Cassidy sending him hard to the wire. And Accomplice came away to beat Line Hunter.
The freakish sprinter Bletchingley won the Galaxy in 1975. And here, 22 years later, was an equally dominant win from his grandson, Accomplice. As we'll soon see, we hadn't seen the last of this improving 3-year-old from the John Hawkes stable. Champion jockey Darren Beedman was suspended for 8 meetings on a careless riding charge stemming from his ride on Denendry in the AJC Derby. 7 days later, Bart Cummings had the filly ready for a follow-up battle in the Group 1 AJC Australian Oaks, under the guidance of replacement jockey Glenn Boss.
2 lengths away, Assertive Lass, Ella Capella waiting to go. Dan Endry is right on Ella Capella's heels, followed by Sabile pushing out of a pocket, and then Inshallah, who's dropped off, followed by Ventured. Into the straight, 400 out in the Oaks, and again Ballroom Lady got up on the fence to grab a narrow lead. Assertive Lass has got a beautiful run between them, and Denendry down the outside now with a storming run. Assertive Lass in front at the 200. Dan Endry comes to her quickly. Assertive Lass trying her heart out. Denendry having a bit of a battle, but now she gets the upper hand, and the Derby runner-up Dan Endry, and a good job for Glenn Boss. Denendry races away to beat Assertive Lass. Ella Capella third.
Denendry was clearly Australasia's top 3-year-old filly for 96-97, having won the AJC Australian Oaks, the Ansett Australia Stakes and the Group 2 Wakeful Stakes, as well as finishing second in the AJC Derby and the VRC Oaks. She's bred on similar lines to this year's Irish Derby winner Desert King, being by Danehill from a granddaughter of the great Northern Dancer. Remember all that interference in the AJC Australian Derby? Well, Denendry had done her bit to support the theory that perhaps she should have won. Now let's look at the Derby third place getter, Intergaze, at his next start in the Group 1 Cathay Pacific Queen Elizabeth Stakes.
Here he comes now. Intergaze and all our mob have had an electronic. Octagonal's got a battle on his hands. Dye's throwing everything at him. The 3-year-old Intergaze has burst clear 100 metres out. The Big O can't do any better, try as he may. Intergaze has spoiled the party. A brilliant ride by Carmody.
And now for the 4th horse in the Derby, a youngster by Octagonal and Moorwood sire Zabeel. Remember the name, Might and Power.
Into the straight now, he's off the fence on Might and Power, and Might and Power quickly raced up and he ambled to the front on top of the rise. Might and Power shot clear coming to the 200 mark. He put about 2.5 lengths on Sakti, followed by Babu's Boy and then Something Special, but it's all Might and Power. He's been the real surprise packer to the 3-year-old group, an enormous run in the Derby last week, and he deserves this win, and he wins with his head on his chest.
The Frank Packer Plate is not a Group 1 race. It's classified as Group 2. But we showed you Might and Power's win as a pointer for the future. The Packer Plate has been won by some top horses over the years, like Dalmatia, Chiamare, Stargazer and Juggler, who all trained on to be top-class horses at 4. But none of them won as easily as Might and Power, who's been set for the Caulfield Cup.
Now we head to Morfordville, the headquarters of racing in South Australia, for the 5 Group 1 races that form the backbone of their successful annual carnival in May. The first of these is the Australasian Oaks for 3-year-old fillies over 2,000 metres.
Also putting some pressure on these leaders now. Exalted Miss as they move up to the home turn. Right behind those, Mine Gold waiting for a run. On the turn at the 400 though, and Regal Crown swept up now to hit the lead. Wexford fighting back on the inside. Then Mine Gold, Pray for Rain. Wide out Prairie starting to unwind with Will Fly. Then Dayro Bay, Star of Tara back nearer the inside. Mine Gold hit the lead. Prairie coming after it with Will Fly. Wider out Dayro Bay. Mine Gold the leader. Prairie coming at it. Then Dayro Bay. Mine Gold in front. Matthews lifting it. It's Leon McDonald's Oaks and Mine Gold.
While Mine Gold's win was met with stunned silence by punters, it was a popular victory among the local racing industry. Mine Gold is trained by the affable Leon McDonald, whose first Group 1 win was achieved at Morfordville 11 years earlier, when French Cotton won the South Australian Derby. Top trainer Lee Friedman was running out of time to win 10 Group 1 races for the season, something he'd been able to accomplish for the previous 5 years. Against 3-year-old colts, whose claim to Group 1 standing was perhaps questionable, Freedman decided to give his VRC Oaks place getter Bay her chance in the Malaysia Airlines South Australia Derby.
Under pressure behind them, Divorce, followed by Kentucky Blue, and down on the inside of those, whacking away Paris Archway, but it's Derobe out after Beechwood Road as they straighten. They're 2 or 3 in front, Lord Ted into the clear, and down the outside, King's Landing. It's Derobe, and on the inside, battling on Beechwood Road, and now Markham starting to extend the filly. Derobe just in front, but Markham's got her. Markham raced up on the outside, and it's Markham's Derby. Markham wins the Malaysia Airlines SA Derby for 97 by 2.5. King's Landing a bold second.
12 months earlier, we watched an unknown 27-year-old from country Victoria win his first Group 1 race, the South Australian Derby with 60-1 shot Cheviot. That young man, Cliff Brown, returned to win back-to-back South Australian Derbies with Markham. He'd also won the Group 1 Rosehill Guineas along the way with Tanpir Lane.
7 days after her placing behind Markham, the ultra-tough Derobe was at it again, this time on the Woodland Stud South Australian Oaks.
Burning Embers lost, copped the backwash and drifted back. Bayo Cacao, there's a fall. 2 are down here. Burning Embers has come to grief, and so too has another runner, and that appears to be Island Dice in the Oaks as they turn for home. 400 to go. Both horses on their feet and both okay. One rider of Burning Embers sitting up appears to be all right, and I can't pick up the other rider, obscured from the ambulance. In the straight now, and here Derobe's gone to the front down to the 200. Prairie is the danger coming after her. They were followed by Kachina and now Pray for Rain, but Derobe hangs on. Prairie trying very, very hard. It's Derobe in front, right down the outside late Artistic Rose, but it's Derobe's Oaks. Derobe got home by about a long neck to a half-length. Artistic Rose out very deep.
Derobe was purchased at the Magic Million sales for $35,000 by former international cricketer turned bloodstock agent Simon O'Donnell. The filly was bred by Waikato Stud, who also bred this season's dual Group 1 winners Great Command and O'Reilly.
Some races look easy, others look hard. And then there are the occasion events like the AWA Goodwood Handicap that looked absolutely impossible to predict the outcome. Adelaide's Premier Sprint race was a veritable charge of the Light Brigade.
Around the home turn, and it's Mars Pie to the inside, and Kaylee from Hero Wind Elegancy. Back in behind them, Alpine and needing a run. There's a tightening there with Winning Hand, and over on the outside, Hunza Court and Corregidor. They were followed by Del Sol, who's never seen the rail, taking a shortcut now as Flavour. Further back in the field then behind Elegancy was Torresel, who got checked, and down the outside, here's another excuse, and Belzevere starting to let go. Clang got to the front. Belzevere out the extreme outside has raced up now, and Belzevere goes to the front with another excuse. And Belzevere doing just a little too well for another excuse. Belzevere wins it for old Jim Houlihan.
Belzevere had been a superior 3-year-old, winning the Group 2 Sandown Guineas, but lost all form before being transferred to the care of Jim Houlihan, that renowned trainer of top-class hurdlers and steeplechasers. The Houlihan magic worked wonders with Belzevere, who raced 4 times for the 84-year-old mentor for 4 brilliant wins.
The traditional Adelaide Cup lead-up, the West End Stakes, saw the New Zealand 4-year-old Cronus score the most easy win imaginable. With just 49.5 kilos in the big race, and with the all-conquering Shane Dye taking the ride, Cronus was back to be a dominating favourite for South Australia's richest horse race.
And Ice Doctor swept to the front, a length and a half clear. Here comes Dye making his move on Cronus out wider. Even deeper, Lord Ted starting to work home with some authority. They were followed back behind those then by top rating Dark Czar. Some of these are starting to struggle. Wider out, Marine Boy is running home well, but Dye's got to the front now. Cronus has sailed to the lead. Lord Ted looking the danger. And they were followed wider out down the extreme outside by Rover making ground. Rover is out after Cronus. Lord Ted is still there. Here's one hell of a war. Cronus, Lord Ted the centre, and out wide Rover. Lord Ted's gone to Cronus. Lord Ted in front, Cronus fighting back the inside. The Kiwi's going to be too strong, and Kiwi, Cronus, he had the owners on them, and he's won a neck fighting with.
Cronus showed the right mettle in coming back from the brink of defeat after 3-year-old Lord Ted gave the Freedman camp another frustrating big race second. Cronus, yet another son of the Beale, is prepared at Matamata by Roger James, in partnership with Lance Noble. The Queensland Winter Carnival has been one of the major growth areas of Australian racing over the past few years, attracting support from all the major interstate stables, as well as many from New Zealand. In fact, the competition in Queensland during May and June has become so intense, it's become very hard to win almost any kind of race. The first Group 1 race of the carnival occurs at Doomben, the smaller of Brisbane's two metropolitan courses. It's the Doomben 10,000, a sprint race over 1,350 metres. And in 1997, it was run under weight for age conditions for the first time.
Heading for the judge, 400 metres to go. Quick Flicker's the leader. He's a length and a half in front. Accomplice coming to the outside. Chief De Beers is now third, then Blazing Steel. Mahogany is under a bit of pressure, and then Catlin opening. It's Accomplice in front. Blazing Steel's got nowhere to go. Quick Flicker's kicking again. Chief De Beers on the outside. Accomplice in front. Dye goes for home on him now, and he bird away from them. Accomplice is racing away on the run to the line to score easily. Blazing Steel second, and Monopolize got third, then Chief De Beers.
Accomplice was the big improver in national sprinting ranks during the season. While his spring form was little more than promising, a gelding operation and the addition of blinkers transformed this powerful 3-year-old into a serious big-time performer. How's this for a Brisbane Carnival curtain raiser? Introducing one of the discoveries of the Winter Carnival, a powerful 3-year-old with the upbeat name of Yippee-I-O.
Was following up behind Yippee-I-O, and then Sahara Z, and I like him. In the straight now, 400 metres out. Mandu just in front of Crystal Palace. The filly dashed up to go to the lead. She's running out badly, but she's gone to a clear lead. Here comes Yippee-I-O on the outside. Yippee-I-O is after Crystal Palace. He's moved up to hit the lead. Oh boy, they said he was good. He looks really good. 100 metres to go, and away he goes, Yippee-I-O. He is blitzing them in the run to the post, and he's going to win the Guineas by 5 lengths. Yippee-I-O first, and a big victory wave there from Jimmy Cassidy.
This year, Brisbane was continually wet, and the Grand Prix meeting was one of the major sufferers. The Grand Prix was a major derby lead-up, so trainer Jack Denham had to do some quick thinking and nominate Yippee-I-O for the Group 1 Doomben Cup, a weight for age race over 2,020 metres.
Yippee-I-O is still 8 lengths off the lead, giving them a long start. Kicking on the inside, Iron Horse, 200 metres out. Iron Horse is in front. Sapio's running all over the track. Yippee-I-O can't win. Pakaraka Star to third. Sapio hit the lead from Iron Horse. Pakaraka Star and Shame trying hard on the outside. Sapio in front. It's a boil over in the cup. Sapio.
Remember how Yippee-I-O treated them in the Queensland Guineas? The horse leading the chasing brigade was the Queensland-owned but New Zealand-trained filly Crystal Palace, a sister to Australasia's champion 2-year-old of 1992, Naturalism.
She's moving up dangerously on the outside. In fact, she's poked her nose in front. Bubble is just behind them, then Mighty Gold. Shigeru Charlotte has lost her position as they straighten up. Pelling's gone for home now, and Royal Sancharac has raced away from them. 300 metres to go. Start cheering, Bruce. She's looking pretty good. Royal Sancharac is a length and a half in front. Crystal Palace is coming after her on the outside. Royal Sancharac just in front of Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is going to Royal Sancharac. Crystal Palace is going to outgun Royal Sancharac. Yes, she's too good, and Yorkie wins the Oaks.
Crystal Palace was the third classic winner for the season that was selected as a yearling and managed by Auckland-based bloodstock consultant Rob McAnulty, the others being Great Command and Moorwa. The Stradbroke was elevated to $1 million race for the first time in 1996 and was won by the Freedman brothers with Dana Singer. This year the Freedmans simply weren't kicking with the breeze as top-weight Poetic King struggled all week with a foot problem and was ultimately scratched from the big race. The short-priced favourite was the Doomben 10,000 winner Accomplice, who looked very attractively weighted with 52 kilos.
In the straight now, they head for the judge in the Stradbroke, and it's Quick Flick the leader. Malaguara's given full bore on the outside. He's trying hard to reach him. Accomplice is there in the centre, squeezing through. Celestial Choir on the outside with Confiscate. Catlin opening is running on, and Dane Ripper right down the outside. The Greys kick Quick Flick. He's just in front. He's leading by a length on Celestial Choir. Dane Ripper out wide is finishing brilliantly. She's going to get the money, I think. Yes, Dane Ripper first.
Dane Ripper was bred by her owners, the Cordner family, who also raced the filly's mother, Red Express. The meeting of Yippee-I-O and Marble Halls in the Queensland Derby was promoted as one of the clashes of the Winter Carnival, and it didn't disappoint anyone. With the two 3-year-olds vying for favouritism, nothing else was given a chance of beating them.
Marble Halls is poised there, third on the outside. Yippee-I-O fought the outside. This is what we've been waiting for. 300 metres to go, and both boys go full board now. Yippee-I-O got away from Marble Halls. It's Yippee-I-O a neck in front. Marble Halls is kicking again on the inside. It's Marble Halls and Yippee-I-O. Yippee-I-O a neck in front of Marble Halls. Yippee-I-O just in front of Marble Halls. They're drawing to the line. Jimmy Cassidy with the whip in the air, and he said, Yippee! Yippee-I-O has won the derby.
This was the highest rated Queensland Derby in memory, two fine young stayers drawing each other right out and leaving a Group 1 weight for age winner in Summer Bow struggling 6 lengths behind. Yippee-I-O was bred and retained by popular Sydney owners Jeff and Beryl White. That leaves just one feature race for the older horses in the Australasian Racing Year, the Group 1 Wide World of Sports Brisbane Cup, a handicap race over the ultimate flat distance of 3,200 metres. Chris Muntz had won the Stradbroke 2 days earlier on Dane Ripper. And with his cup mount being the favourite, Desert Chill, he was bidding to become only the 4th jockey to complete the big QTC handicap double.
Shaskay is starting a long run. There's a gap there now for Desert Chill if he's good enough. Nasser Rich is the leader. They've got 350 metres to go, and it's Nasser Rich in front, joined quickly by Desert Chill, and Sapio on the outside is going up to hit the front now. It's Sapio just in front of Desert Chill. They look as though they're going to fight it out. Desert Chill on the inside and Sapio. Desert Chill hit the lead with 100 metres to go. Desert Chill in front of Sapio. He's starting to draw clear. Chris looking down the barrel of the big Group 1 double, and he's got it. Yes, Desert Chill has won the cup.
This was a grand comeback by Desert Chill, who won the Cup in 1995, but had since been to hell and back with chronic feet problems. Credit to trainer, the former Kiwi Bevan Lamming, that she persisted to get the 7-year-old through. The last jockey to ride both the Stradbroke and Brisbane Cup winners in the 1 year was Jim Cassidy on Rough Habit and Grooming in '92.
That brings us to the segment of the Australasian Racing Year which I always find the most exciting. It's our analysis of the 2-year-olds, and in this segment we're not only looking at the winners. Many of the minor place getters in these races will be the ones who make the quantum leap in improvement to become the big name players in the classic races at 3. The first major race for 2-year-olds is hosted by the Western Australian Turf Club. It's the Karrakatta Plate, run over 1,200 metres at Ascot on Boxing Day.
Miss Nip the first to see the judge. 1.5 lengths on the bend from Umar, going up very quickly now from Sauvignon Valley Pirelli, and then came American Quilt, but inside the 200, and Umar kicked away by 2 from Miss Nip. American Quilt running on from Sauvignon Valley, but Umar, he's going strongly. He's got the Karrakatta 1, and Umar goes on to win by 2.5 lengths from Sauvignon Valley.
Umar provided a ringing endorsement for the new William Inglis & Son Breeze Up sale, held in Sydney the previous September. This was also a marvellous start to the stud career of Umatilla, a high-class Mr. Prospector line horse who stands at Philip Campbell's Blue Gum Farm in Victoria. Paul King rode Umar for trainer Heck McLaren. The Magic Millions race at the Gold Coast is not a Group 1 event, but its prize money always ensures it's a worthwhile contest. In '97, the locally bred General Nadine, with Mick Dittman in the saddle, was a short-priced favourite.
And the others were headed by China Express in the straight, and Dittman releases the leather, and General Nadim spreaded straight past Dance Beat. The Sydney Colts under pressure. He hit the rail there as Dittman went with a persuader. 2 lengths away, Carol Love and Special Dane, but it's the Magic Millions all over bar the shouting at the 100 metres mark. General Nadim's well clear. Carol Love's running a great race from Special Dane, but it's 1 in a million. It's General Nadim.
Across the Tasman at Wellington's Trentham Racecourse, the New Zealand Magic Millions revealed a precocious son of the boom first season sire Volkstrade. His name? Thriller.
Into the straight of the Magic Millions. Back behind them, Dandy Dancer, Ben Bulbin and Repetition pull to the outside for their runs. Quality Kingdom, all the chat. Thrillers now coming after them, the favourite. And Dandy Dancer over on the outside. He releases the brakes on Thriller. And Thriller's put 3 lengths on them here from Dandy Dancer. Repetition's running on strongly, but it's all Thriller in the classic. He'll win the Magic Millions. 4 out of 4. He's a beauty.
The Mercedes-Benz Blue Diamond Stakes is Victoria's richest 2-year-old race. This year worth $1 million for the first time, as part of the new Victorian Triple Crown promotional series. That renowned big occasion jockey Greg Hall was on board the Lee Freedman trained filly Rose of Danehill.
At the 500 nearing the turn, Sports in front of Lady Lexus, Thriller out 3 wide. On their outside, Accumulation and Sherbet about 5 wide coming to the turn. Then came Cornwall Queen, followed by Aveda. Rose of Danehill back near the inside, and Millwood next, hard ridden and getting checked into the straight. Sports the leader. He's by 2 lengths to Thriller. Sherbet called on for the run. Rose of Danehill getting up behind the leader. Sports at the 150 still has 2 lengths on Rose of Danehill and Sherbet. It's Sports on the inside. He's in front by about a length. Rose of Danehill and Knowledge swamping them out wide. Rose of Danehill, Knowledge on the outside has got up and won the Blue Diamond.
This was possibly the most exciting win by any 2-year-old for the entire season, with Knowledge having to overcome the extreme outside barrier before coming from last at the halfway mark. Knowledge is a very strong and handsome son of Mahogany's sire, Last Tycoon, and looks the sort to make into a Guineas contender of 3. This was a Group 1 Quinella for Lee Friedman, who prepared both the winner and Rose of Danehill.
One of the better fancies in the Mercedes-Benz Blue Diamond Stakes, the Alan Bell trained Millward, was virtually put out of the race in the scrimmage before the home turn. The more leisurely tempo of the 1400 metres of the Sire's Produce Stakes was expected to give him the chance to make amends, especially with Knowledge and Rose of Danehill bypassing the race.
Into the straight and Sports the leader from Millward on the outside, and then came Any Rhythm pulled to the outside for a run at them. Back behind those is Dana Sarai looking for a run through, and then Lady of the Pines down the outside with Cornwall Queen. Evaded the widest runner. It's Millward striking the lead at the 200 metre mark from Sports on the inside, clear of Dana Sarai and Cornwall Queen. It's Millward in front though from Sports and then Cornwall Queen, but Millward is striding away with it, and Millward a couple of lengths to Cornwall Queen. Millward wins the size easily from Cornwall Queen, photo third.
Millward was the third Group 1 victory in a short but successful training career for Alan Bell, who handed in his licence in June to spend more time on his business enterprises. Millward was bred by Patrick Hogan's Cambridge stud, utilising Waikato stud's new Fapiano stallion defensive play.
Now it's on to Sydney, where the countdown towards the $2 million Tooheys Golden Slipper Stakes was already underway. The first clash of major significance was the Group 3 Skyline Stakes at Rose Hill, which saw the unbeaten record of the Ingham Brothers Colt Guineas put on the line in a head-to-head battle with the Breeders' Plate winner Encounter.
Guineas and Encounter, and both riders look pretty confident at the moment. Larry's got to shake up Guineas. Encounter's making a real race of it, and they've quickly kicked away from Special Dane. Guineas and Encounter. Guineas on the inside has grabbed a narrow lead over Encounter, and Special Dane is starting to get home well in the last bit, but Guineas is about a length in front, a little under that as they hit the line, and Guineas wins at a half length to Encounter.
The Boom Queensland colt General Nadim had his first start since the Magic Millions in one of the most reliable slipper lead-ups, the Group 2 Todman Slipper Trial.
And Mick Dittman is swinging to the General. He took a half-length lead immediately after turning the corner over Graham's Choice. Dance Beat running on, followed by Special Dane. Coming to the 200, and Mick clicks up, and General Nadim's 2 in front of Dance Beat and Special Dane on the outside. General Nadim is well clear. He's got further ahead now. He's 3 in front of Special Dane, who's running home well, followed by Dance Beat. But General Nadim leads the troops home in a canter.
The stage was now set. The Blue Diamond Quinella, Knowledge and Rose of Danehill came to Sydney especially for this race, with Greg Hall on Knowledge and Stephen King on the Rose. General Nadim started favourite, despite a strong betting move for the Clary Connors trained Encounter. And all the while there was Guineas, unbeaten in 7 starts and as reliable as the sun. Lee Friedman had won the race for the past 4 years. Clary Connors had won it twice, and John Hawkes, Sydney's reigning Premier trainer, was still smarting over Octagonal's unlucky defeat 2 years earlier.
They're off in the slipper. And a little slow to move is Sports. You Call Sir dwelt, and so did Decide. Little Regal Chamber has begun like a rocket from an outside gate. Guineas is brilliantly away. As quickly into stride is General Nadim, who's straight into the box seat, followed by Encounter, Nimble Feet. Decide is making ground quickly along the fence after that slow start. There was a little bit of tightening there. Just behind those Sports, followed by Rose of Danehill, Vocalist between horses. Then You Call Sir, Fraud, followed by Knowledge, who's in front of about 3. And they are Special Dane, Cove and all the chat. 600 out as they near the turn. Regal Chamber the leader. Guineas is second. General Nadim third. Encounter fourth, getting a perfect run. Rose of Danehill 3 deep. Then Nimble Feet, Decide on the fence, followed by Sports. Rose of Danehill made the bend awkwardly, and Knowledge is giving them about 8 lengths as they turn for home. Regal Chamber giving plenty of cheek in the straight. Guineas on the outside throwing down the gauntlet. The General looking for the rails run. Encounter on the extreme outside with the last run at them. General Nadim got right through on the fence to join Regal Chamber, Guineas and Encounter on the outside. Encounter and Guineas. Encounter has run off the track, is lunging again as they hit the line, and oh, it's close.
Guineas ran straight and hard, like the true professional he undoubtedly is. This should have made up for the misfortune of the Ingham brothers and trainer John Hawkes in 1995, because there's not much doubt that had Encounter gone straight instead of running away from Shane Dye's whip, he'd have won. Guineas is the second Golden Slipper winner sired by Crown Jester, the other being in 85, Rory's Jester.
Second day of the Randwick Carnival, just 9 days after the Golden Slipper, provided Encounter with a tailor-made opportunity to exact revenge. Was he really that unlucky in the slipper, or did Guineas win on nerve?
Coming around the turn, RD Win is a clear-cut leader over Guineas, first to go after her. In third place, Special Dane, followed by Encounter, and then Millwood, Mr. Right from Irish Air, and Tricove as they top the rise. RD Win the leader. Encounter and Guineas are coming after AD Win as they top the rise, and they're clear of Special Day. None of the others are a hope. RD Win tackled by Encounter. Guineas can't find much more. Encounter hit the lead 100 metres out. Guineas is fighting back like a bulldog, but Encounter avenges defeat in the Golden Slipper. He tried to run out again, but he didn't get far today.
And so to the third leg of the 2-year-old Triple Crown, the Mowat and Shandong Champagne Stakes. The slipper had been decided at 1,200 metres and the sires at 1,400. This time, Guineas and Encounter had to stretch themselves to 1,600 metres over the expanses of Royal Rambling.
It's Irish Air and Guineas going together. Encounter's been 3 deep from the outset. That's him with the white cap as they come around the turn, followed by Snar Dame. South Bend is next as they come over the rise, and Salty is now taken to the extreme outside. Guineas and Irish Air. Dye hasn't moved on Encounter. He's about to do so, however. Salty is running on, and South Bend can't do any more. At the 200 mark, Irish Air and Guineas. Encounter has cantered up to them on the outside. Snar Dame is running on well, but Encounter shot clear. Will this be the day that Shane Dye rides the program? It might well be, as Encounter spears away. That's his 4th for the day.
Encounter went down by the shortest possible margin, and those in the Golden Slipper. And that was the mistake that cost him the 97 Juvenile Triple Crown. Encounter was bred and retained by New Haven Park Stud when he failed to meet a modest reserve as a yearling. He is by the 91 champion 2-year-old Tierce. Like that great colt, he's trained by Clary Connors.
New Zealand hosts 2 Group 1s for the 2-year-olds, and the first of these is the Manawatu Sires Produce Stakes over 1,400 metres at the Central District's track of Awapuni.
Petrov out deep, goes up to Good Faith and Jerome Jarinovich. Dandy Dancer just behind them, and Kilmore Keys making its claim as they come to the home corner turn in the sires. And here we've got Kilmore Key out wide, going up to Petrov. Good Faith the inside, and then Dandy Dancer. Kilmore Key on the outsiders at the front. From Petrov, Dandy Dancer into the clear, and then Good Faith. It's Kilmore Key a couple of lengths in front with 100 to go from Dandy Dancer and Petrov. The Ford dealer team sires of 97 to Kilmore Key. Kilmore Key nearly 2 lengths to Dandy Dancer.
Now here's a set of connections familiar to Australian racegoers. Kilmore Key is a member of the first crop of the former Melbourne galloper Yachty, a fast, very tough grandson of that mighty sprinter Zephyr Bay. The winning filly is prepared by that outstanding mentor John Wheeler and was ridden by Tony Allen, winner of the 88 Melbourne Cup on Empire Road.
Queensland's Eagle Farm Racecourse hosts the final 2 Group 1 juvenile races of the season. The wet track conditions, which played havoc with the rest of the carnival, also made the 2-year-old races rather less predictable than one might have wished.
Coming up towards the home turn, 500 metres to go. Ocean Ranch is joined by Old Man Saw. Staging is one away third. Trader Vic is hard ridden in the centre. Snar Dame is over on the inside. Evada coming wide now. Then Trumpets Emerald Zoff and Bintang High Dock. Al Mansour, he's gone for home and he booted away at the 250. Al Mansour shot away 3 lengths in front. Staging to second, followed by Ocean Ranch, then Snar Dame and Evada on the outside. Al Mansour is going to take some catching. 150 metres to go. Al Mansour 2 lengths in front. Staging can't get to him. Al Mansour is going to win the sires. Al Mansour goes to the post, won it by 2 lengths. Staging second, Snar Dame third.
There's only one way to go once the sires produce has been run and won. Just wait 9 days and go around again in the QTC Castlemaine Classic of 1,600 metres.
He's 8 off the fence, Mosaic, leading by a length. Al Mansour is cruising up to him on the outside. Key Issue now through to be third. Freedom Road on the inside. Evada just behind them. Le Mans is on the outside and under extreme pressure. Al Mansour has gone to the lead. 200 metres to go. Al Mansour is nicely clear, a length and a half in front. Freedom Road is chasing him. Then Mosaic and Evada. He's flying home on the outside, Evada, but Al Mansour is in front with 50 metres to go. Evada can't catch him. No, Al Mansour's too good, and he's won the big 2-year-old double.
Al Mansour is certainly in good company as the winner of the QTC Juvenile Double. In 92, the filly Slight Chance won both races before going on to win the Flight Stakes in Sydney and the Oaks at Flemington. While in 93, Mahogany won the Eagle Farm Double before taking the Caulfield Guineas and the Victoria Derby the following spring.
That completes the Australasian Racing Year for 1996-97. This was a year that represented the changing of the guard at the top level of racing, with Gai Waterhouse becoming only the third trainer this decade to train the winners of 10 Group 1 races. John Hawkes lost his Sydney Premiership to Waterhouse after 3 years at the top, but was compensated by taking the Brisbane title for the first time, ending a 1.5 decade rule by Bruce McLaughlin of Thornhill Park. In Melbourne, the winds of change whistled through there too, with Lee Friedman achieving a personal ambition and ending the dominance of the Hayes family. The patriarch of Lindsay Park, Colin Hayes, first won the Melbourne Premiership in 1978, and his younger son David won it 5 times in a row after Colin retired in 1990. Peter Hayes, in his first season of training for the family, won the title in 1996, but this year found the Friedman firepower a bit too strong. Among the jockeys, Shane Dye was Australia's leading rider of Group 1 winners with a massive tally of 13. Darren Beedman rode 11 in Australia, but pinched a further 2 from his visits to New Zealand, making 13 overall. This pair also had an arm wrestle for the Jockeys' Premiership, with Dye clearing to score a second title to add to his 1991 triumph. Add a special mention to Lance O'Sullivan. New Zealand only runs 20 Group 1 races compared to Australia's 65, but O'Sullivan won 6 of them. That's an exceptional strike rate at racing's highest level. We hope you enjoyed edition 15 of the Australasian Racing Year. While we'll undoubtedly remember the great horses like Saintly, Octagonal, Moorward and Encounter, I think it'll always be stamped in our memories as the season when we lost the great Bill Collins. Bill was an inspiration to us all.
The first of these videos 15 years ago was actually called Bill Collins Racing Year. And from up there, Bill called 34 Melbourne Cups. And those of us who heard him, well, maybe we reckon he's still there because we're never going to forget him. Bill had the gift, and the gift he had was to paint pictures in words. There's no one who could do it quite the way he did, and there's no one who could ever do it as well as he did in that incredible race between Waverley Star and Bone Crusher, the 1986 Cox Plate. And if you need to wonder what made Bill great, just listen to this.
Our Waverley Star will want to be far up. Here's Bone Crusher. He's pulled into the outside, shooting around them, and our Waverley Star's going with it. Aberidi at the head of the others with Drought, Dinky Flyer, the Filbert and Tristram. Here come the New Zealanders, our Waverley Star and Bone Crusher. They've raced to the lead, 600 out. Have they gone too early? 2 lengths to Drought, running up the third from Society Bay. They were followed then by Drawn Under the Whip at the head of the others, Dinky Flyer. But our Waverley Star, he got a half length to Bone Crusher. He's gone for the whip on Bone Crusher. 3 lengths to Drought, followed then by Dinky Flyer and Drawn. But the 2 great New Zealanders have come away on the turn. Our Waverley Star, a half-length Bone Crusher. The Big Red won't give in. Drought running on. Bone Crusher responds to the whip. The roars of the crowd. He races up to our Waverley Star. 100 out. Bone Crusher, our Waverley Star. Stride for stride. Nothing in it. Our Waverley Star, the round. Bone Crusher, the outside. And Bone Crusher races into equine immortality. $1.5 million as he photo finishes our Waverley Star. Third is the Filbert, followed by won by a minute, and that's the way he might win the Melbourne Cup. Dulcify by 6 lengths to Chivalry.
Each day is grey, and you can't help feeling dreary, but the night is bright. It's so comfy and cheery when the moon comes over the mountain. I'm wondering how you are, where you are, with my memories of you. I'm alone with my memories